What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. Good afternoon. Last evening when we sat, um, in fact, one of the first pieces that we began with yesterday was a press conference with a reporter by the name of Saeed. And the cardboard plastic Zionist buck that he was asking questions to. But if you'll recall, at the beginning of that clip, Saeed was asking him, so this latest shooting, blah blah blah, like, is there any doubt about who was doing the shooting? So again, I tell you, I always watch my work back. I haven't finished last night's piece. I'm almost to the end. Yeah, I'm real close to the end. I probably got maybe 15 minutes more to watch. But one of the reasons why I watch my work is because it gives me an opportunity to, and I also forgot to play you a clip that I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, that was related to Israel attacking its own people. I don't know if I'm loving this camera, y'all. Like the way this software does me. Uh, what do you think? Tell me. Maybe I'm just panicking for no reason. Anyway, um, anyway, um, I forgot to show you that clip. Never went back to it after I mentioned it, and then it gave me an opportunity when he said that to go, well, what was he talking about? Is there something new? You know, and there was something new, and in fact, it may have been happening. Well, it had already happened. Yeah, it had already happened, and but apparently there was this. I mentioned it actually. So I knew about it somehow because I mentioned it in the stream. I said that there was Palestinians that were going for the aid trucks that came in. And there's miles of aid trucks. There's the aid being sent from all over the world for the Palestinians. And the terrorists are Israel. The terrorists are holding up trucks, putting through outrageous inspections, deciding that some items just aren't going to be allowed just arbitrarily and things like that. So you only have a few trucks getting in. And so literally you have, when the trucks come in, people are scrambling for the trucks. They're hungry, man. And they need other stuff besides food. You have a lot of women who need, feminine products and things like that. You have children, babies. And so from the sky and from the land, these terrorists murdered over 100 and some odd people. We're going to get the number in the things that I've pulled. And I was crying the other day because there was something I was watching about Gaza, and I literally saw where a bag of flour had busted open on the ground. I'm not going to cry. And there was these little boys that were literally scooping the flower up off the ground, out of the dirt, trying to preserve what they could. And it just really broke me. But you heard me say in other pieces that I've done that I am Hamas. And indeed, any of us who gives a fuck about righteousness is Hamas. The two pieces I want to begin with presented themselves to me literally in the last countdown, because this software gives you a countdown from the time you set that you want to start. It starts giving you a countdown. And the first one is from the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur is always very passionate anyway, but I literally felt like you could have a stroke right now on the air, but it's necessary because if certain things require the proper reaction, and there's no other reaction to what is happening in Palestine, in the West Bank, in Gaza. There's no other acceptable emotion other than pure, unadulterated, outright rage and fury. If you're not there, you need to check your humanity. I mean, your heart rate should change. You should have nothing but images of murder and revenge as your feelings. Vengeance should overwhelm you. Overwhelm you. Overwhelm you. That's the first one. The other one presented itself because its title, but then it was, so the title looked like it was probably going to be relevant to what I wanted to say and present. But then there was an unexpected surprise because Amanda Seals is a part of it, who I love. She's got her own problems, and I think she does want me too. I think I heard she wants me. She does want me. She does want me. Okay, well, not surprised. But she is an angry sister, and that's what I love and I need from any African people I'm going to witness or know. I need you to be furious, defiant, that chip on your shoulder, angry, always ready on a note to chastise and to tear down white people with the truth of their evil. And she has not failed me yet. You'll recall that a few years ago, she went viral because she was at some mixer that included Bruce Jenner, and there he was sitting at the table, and he said something that was culturally inappropriate, and Amanda Seals checked it. It was so perfect because it's exactly the space I live in, but it's also the space that we all must live in as African people. No matter where you at or what environment you in, you're supposed to hold your integrity. That cannot be compromised. Oh, we're in a nice little mixer. Maybe this isn't the right place to bring it up. No, it's always the right time. It's always the right time to express what needs to be said and what needs to be done. If that fucks up the moment, then damn it, it fucks up the moment. But it serves righteousness. And that's what's most important. That's That's what's most important. To serve righteousness and what is good. That's what's important. Now, let's begin then with, and don't let me forget, my moderators especially, don't let me forget to show you the clip that I meant to show you last night. Remind me. But let's begin with this first news piece from Young Turks, because also it gives us the story of what happened with this attack on these people seeking aid. All right. So let's go to that. See if this was on the other software. Just let me bring you in. Click, watch. I always have to think about what I need to do, the mechanics. Okay, you need to put that video up. Where am I at? There it is. All right, then you come over here. We'll see this first clip and I'll come to you. No, not settings. You need present. You need to share screen, and you need to I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. And I will tell you this too. They had me a little concerned, the Young Turks, especially during the height of COVID and the subsequent vaxxing and all of it, because they were saying all the wrong things. And I typed some very, very scathing and scorching comments on their videos. And, you know, I held this Anna person up as a Zionist whore. And, but they have been saying the right thing throughout this. So I have to give credit where credit is due. As I tell you all the time, we accept truth no matter what the source. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And as I always tell you, if somebody gave you $1 million, you wouldn't care what attitude they gave it to you with. They'd come to you and say, your mother's a whore. Here's $1 million. And you wouldn't give a damn. And you're definitely not giving that $1 million back. What are you looking for, Jedi? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's the wrong phone. That's the wrong phone. That's the wrong phone. Okay, you don't really need your phone. Play the clip. All right, let's play the clip. Let me make sure my house volume is not. What are the numbers? I'm only at 20. Shouldn't get any echo on that. I gotta go in the other room and check your experience. Hear this.
You can see in this video by the from the Israeli military, the crowds of people around these trucks. But what appears to have happened is that the Israeli military opened fire on some of these people who were surrounding these trucks. Now, eyewitnesses on the scene have told us that Israeli tanks as well as drones opened fire on this crowd, and that following that, there was a chaotic scene.
And yet another appalling war crime that will, of course, receive cover by the United States government. Israeli forces fired on a crowd of Palestinian civilians who were crowding a humanitarian aid truck, desperately seeking food in northern Gaza. Now, it's important to keep in mind that we are talking about northern Gaza, which has effectively been cut off from any humanitarian aid. We're talking about people who did not evacuate to the south. Humanitarian aid organizations have had a lot of difficulty reaching them. And since they swarmed the humanitarian aid truck, the IDF took it as an opportunity to fire at them, killing hundreds of people. Now, the death toll is very likely to change, but more than 100 people have been reported killed as a result of this. The death toll in Gaza is believed to have surpassed 30,000 people at this point. Now, Israeli officials acknowledged that troops opened fire, saying they did so after the crowd approached in a threatening way. The The officials insisted on anonymity to give details about what happened after the military said in a statement that dozens were killed and injured from pushing, trampling, and being run over by the trucks. So the IDF and the Israeli government would have you believe that no, we didn't shoot at them. Yes, these bullet-riddled bodies laying on the floor do exist, but that wasn't us. It was the trampling that caused these deaths. Complete and utter BS. And hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are believed to remain in northern Gaza, and many have been reduced to eating animal fodder to survive. The UN says that 1 in 6 children under 2.
If you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead.
2 in the north suffer from acute malnutrition and wasting. And the UN also says that a quarter of Gaza's, and this is the entire Gaza Strip, a quarter of Gaza's 2.3 million Palestinians face starvation. Around 80% have fled their homes. And I want to go to what witnesses said about what was happening at the scene before I go to you, Cenk. So Kamel Abu Nahel, who was being treated for a gunshot wound at Shifa Hospital, said that he and others went to the distribution point in the middle of the night because they heard that there would be food. They've been eating bird food. They've been eating animal fodder. They're desperate for food. So they show up and he says, we've been eating animal feed for 2 months, so you can imagine how hungry they are. He said Israeli troops opened fire on the crowd as people pulled boxes of flour and canned goods off the trucks, causing them to scatter, with some hiding under cars. After the shooting stopped, people went back to the trucks and the soldiers opened fire again. He was shot in the leg and fell over, and then a truck ran over his leg as it sped off, he said. Ala Abu Daye, a witness of that violence, said that Israeli troops opened fire and also that a tank fired a shell. Those attempting to deliver humanitarian aid tried to get away from the shooting and the danger that was being caused as a result of the IDF firing at them. And as a result, they unfortunately did end up running some people over, but do not make the mistake of buying into the lies and propaganda by the Israeli government. That is not the main reason why people were killed. In fact, Jeremy Diamond at CNN, who's done some excellent reporting on the ground, has a report that I want to share with you all in regard to this episode. Let's watch.
Our eyewitnesses on the ground indicate that it was the Israeli gunfire that prompted some of those trucks to flee the scene and in the process run over some of these individuals. But we are still working to gather additional details. The Israeli military says for its part that the incident is under review, and they are also saying in a statement that Gazan residents surrounded the trucks, looted the supplies being delivered, and that during the incident, dozens of Gazans, they say, were injured as a result of pushing and trampling. This was clearly more than just pushing and trampling, and we have eyewitnesses making very clear that the Israeli military did indeed open fire on these individuals.
So desperate people seeking flour, anything, any sustenance, considering the fact that they have been left to starve to death. And as they're swarming the humanitarian aid convoy the trucks, they get fired at by the IDF.
So
who are the animals?
Yeah.
Who are the animals, Cenk? Who are the animals? Because I'm getting real sick of people on social media referring to Palestinian civilians as animals. Because every story that we've covered, everything.
And the only people referring to Palestinians as animals are white people. That's it. I make it my mission in life, everybody, to make this distinction for all of humanity that encounters me, because I know unequivocally what the truth is. And what I know for sure is when most of humanity begins to understand, wait, all the problems of humanity are being generated by these fucked up group of people, things are gonna change. People are gonna act different at the very least. Act different.
That we've investigated and looked into does not really show Palestinians behaving as animals. It shows the IDF behaving as animals. People who feel real good about themselves, shooting their weapons at desperate people as they swarm a humanitarian aid truck. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So latest numbers are 112 dead, 760 injured, 576,000 Palestinians
injured, 112 dead, And what I'm also struck by is usually when we hear the number of people, that have been killed on anything, we kind of subconsciously and unintentionally dismiss the number injured. We're kind of relieved they were injured, they lived. And that's right. But until you get down to the person per person, and you realize somebody lost a leg or their face has been blown off, but they lived, So let's be mindful of the injured as well, and not just those who died.
Injured. 576,000 Palestinians are now starving. And this is what starving looks like. Now, the Israelis say, or it's confirmed by international news outlets like CNN, that the Israelis fired from the tanks and from drones. And they said they were worried about their troops. Where? Where were the troops?
Right.
Inside the tanks? They weren't in the drones. So the guys that were inside tanks were slightly concerned, I guess, about this is the best case scenario for Israel that I'm laying out, about their safety within the tank. So they murdered 112 people at least. And when you started firing into the crowd, what did you think was going to happen? Other than the slaughter from your bullets, that hungry, desperate crowd, of course, was going to panic when you started spraying the place with bullets, and the trucks were gonna panic. And you knew that would also create a stampede. And the drones, how about the drones? Were the drones afraid that that their hardware or plastic was going to get attacked? So somehow they were gonna jump up and grab a drone with no one inside of it? And why would that be a concern? Why are you murdering people with drones when you actually see them and you see that they are not at all fighters and they are people desperate for food, and Israel murders them? So if that breaks your heart, good, you still have one. You still have one, good. If you say it breaks your heart to hear me say it, as opposed to the fact that Israel is actually doing it and actually murdering those people, then there's something wrong with you. You think, I don't care about those people, I don't view Palestine. You have to admit it. If you don't think that it's that big a deal and that Israel is right, especially in this instance, if you think Israel's right and you trust your beloved terrorist IDF, and you look at them murdering those people in cold blood as they're starving them, as they're keeping them in a ghetto and a camp, and you look at that and go, no, the problem is people reporting that fact. It's not the fact, the problem is not us doing it. Our beloved democracy ally Israel. Is this what a democracy looks like? Is this what an ally looks like? Is this what decency or morality looks like? This is now one of the sickest governments in the whole world. In my whole lifetime, I've never seen slaughter like this on live television. Yeah, I know this Bashar al-Assad, Kim Jong-un, Saddam Hussein, etc., have done terrible things. But these are being televised, brothers and sisters. So you could say, hey, well, that doesn't.
Defended by our government. That's the important thing to remember. Because I don't remember the US government defending the chemical weapons attacks that Bashar al-Assad was doing.
In fact, we bombed Bashar al-Assad. We bombed Saddam Hussein. We threatened to bomb Kim Jong-un. We applaud Israel and give them money.
And weapons.
Right now, the Senate already passed a bill to send $14 billion for more slaughter. It's a slaughterhouse in Gaza. Every day that we delay, the IDF murders.
All right, say it plugs it in, perfect. We'll start the car. I need a tap to begin.
Murders more Palestinians. Today, Lloyd Austin, our Secretary of Defense, admitted in testimony in Congress, Israel has murdered more than 25,000 women and children. Women and children. Remember that our hearts broke, and we said it on this show, for 36 babies that were killed in Israel, 36 children. And
that weren't killed.
Break your heart. You've got 25,000 dead babies, children, women stacked on top of one another. And now 576,000 people that are starving and desperate and eating animal fodder. What kind of sick maniacs do this? Terrorists do this. Benjamin Netanyahu is 100% a terrorist and one of the worst terrorists of my lifetime. 25 times the terrorist that Hamas is. Definitely a terrorist. And don't give me this nonsense that, oh, when Arabs do it or when Muslims do it and when the powerless do it, they're no good scumbag terrorists. But when a state does it, a so-called ally does it, and they do it 25, 30 times worse. No, angels. They had to do it. No, you cannot be in favor of this. If you're in favor of this, you have lost your soul. You have lost your morality. You have lost decency. The IDF now is the largest terrorist organization in the world. If you say, oh no, that's not fair. We were just murdering 30,000 of them and starving them and humiliating them and shooting them with drones and treating them like animals. But you don't get to call us names. You don't get to call us names. No, I do get to call you names. Israel's one of the worst governments on earth right now. And if you care about Israel, and I think people are so blinded by their bias. But if you say the Palestinians, who gives a goddamn about them? Murder them. Who cares about the Palestinians? We have a right to defend ourselves. Get the hell out of here. That defense ended months and months and months ago. This is just brutality and savagery.
Amen.
So if it breaks your heart to hear the truth, good, do something about it. And so if you don't mind murdering Palestinians and treating them like animals, how about Israel? Listen, you fools, you utter fools. The right-wing government of Israel are stupid monsters in our Congress. Do you not understand? We are all seeing this. Your lies about how Israel has to do it, no one believes it. No one, other than the propaganda-filled, bias-filled heads in Washington. The rest of us look at it, and what do you think's happening? What do you think the world thinks about Israel now? Do you not get it, you schmucks? You unbelievable idiots. If Turkey was doing this, when Turkey did, 1% of this, I was furious because it's gonna make people hate me. Do you not get it? Are you so thick-headed you can't get it? The world now despises Israel because of this. No, it's because we're the victims. Who looks at that tape and says the Palestinians are not the victims, the Israelis murdering them are the victims? You would have to be a lunatic to believe that. So the people in power in our government, that's the people we can affect. Those politicians, they're the worst people on earth. They approved that $14 billion to murder more of these poor innocent people. They are the most immoral people I have ever seen in my lifetime. They don't speak for me. I'm not for the monsters in Washington. I'm 100% against those monsters, yes, including that despicable, awful human being, Joe Biden. Joe Biden looks at that and goes, send them more money, send them more bombs, kill them. That's what Joe Biden says. Same goddamn thing Donald Trump says. Our leaders are monsters. And you think, you idiots, you think you're helping Israel? You're getting the whole world to despise Israel. You morons, you've done so much damage to Palestinians and to Israelis. But keep murdering and see if you can murder your way out of this. Outrageous. If your heart doesn't break, you don't have one.
I thought he might pass out. You know, if you could hear his breathing. I mean, he is like, if you were in that room, you probably would feel the energy of that, you know? But that's what's necessary. That's what's necessary. All right, let me see who's here quickly, and then I want to go directly into our next piece because it is a sister to this, and oh man, I hope you will love this as much as I do, you know? Let's see. Who's here now? Cheryl, Johnny on the spot, first in line, ready to roll. A big shout out to you, Queen. LA sports fan. LA sports fan, you still didn't tell me if you are male or female. Cause I don't know. I don't know. Tell me. Tell me now. Um, Cheryl, Jedi, the Lion King. The Lion King. I don't really hate that. You feel me? Um, you go on. You say, "Good to see you, beautiful. Your beautiful face tonight, big brother. Nothing but positive vibes." Well, I appreciate that, and we need some positivity in what we're bringing now. You know. Um, Black Beauty, always, always on the spot, always down, and always good to see you. Big shout out to you, Queen. Simply Sandra, simply always on the spot, simply good to see you, simply need your support. Big shout out to you, Queen. Uh, then San, you say, Jedi, you said remind you of what you wanted to show us last night. Let me pull that right now, San. Okay, we need that. I think I have that one pulled up. But then nothing. Okay, where are we at? Yeah, I think this is it here. Yes, okay. All right, I pulled it now. I think it was about your Michael Jackson tapes. I think I might be wrong. I'm sorry. No, it's this piece that goes with what we're doing here now, and it was supposed to be part of my opening last night, and it's just some evidence of the fact that Israel kills its own people, and it buttresses my claim that indeed not only was October 7th a false flag that didn't happen, but that there was also some just outright murdering of their own people just for effect, etc. All right, I'll come to it. Cheryl, you say, boy, I cannot stand these Zionists and flea-infested dogs. My main reason first is that they claim to have been persecuted by Hitler, but themselves are practicing open anti-black racism, and we don't care about their alleged Holocaust anymore. I don't. That's my own thing for me. I don't give a fuck, because we, as I've said to you many times, you can go now in the information age, stuff is available. You don't have to go and send off for archives and wait weeks and hope. No, you can click, click, click and get it. And you can just look up Phil Donahue, Holocaust deniers. That should get you started. I think there was something on Geraldo, but I remember seeing the panel. I see it in my mind's eye now. But you had some actual so-called Jews. I don't know if they were Zionists or not, so I'm just calling them so-called. But they were offering evidence that was compelling that indeed this thing didn't happen. One of their pieces of evidence was they were showing some of the camps. They showed that the barbed wire that was up around the fence line was clearly to keep people out, not in. It was a few things, but I don't give a fuck if it happened or not, because for me that was just white on white crime. And if this is how the fuck their evil asses have been even back then you know, you kick a dog too long and it's eventually gonna bite you. So I just don't really give a fuck. And this nice little number of 6 million, you know. And then there was a television show back in the 1970s called The $6 Million Man. Why 6 million? Why 6 million? Why? And his boss was Oscar Goldman. Clearly a Zionist name. Steve Austin, and so on. I mean, it was just, so, you know, it gets into some things, but I'm just not feeling any sympathy for a Holocaust, because we're definitely not calling it the, because that's not the worst shit that's been perpetrated by white people in all of humanity. It's us first, and then everything else. Then you get into your world wars, and you can get into AIDS and Ebola and COVID and all the shit. But we are on the top of all the shit that's been done and is being done, you know. And I'm embarrassed and ashamed myself that I've not done any coverage over the massacre that's been going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's happening now as I sit, and has been. Move, damn it. Anjane 23. Big shout out to you, Queen. So good to see you. Um, uh, San. Jedi, my internet went all the way out last night. Yeah, I know. And I sent you a message that the internet service turned off our service 2 weeks earlier than they were supposed to. I can't. Righteous, I see you. You say the world is one big crime scene. Facts. Wow. It is. In one regard, you know, because of white people. Because of white people. And the problem of the world is white people. That's just what it is. In fact, I have a clip. Where did you see it, Jedi? I think it was. Oh. Ah. Videos. And you see, a lot of times people are offended and turned off by the harshness of truth. And that feeling becomes more and more intensified as time marches on because truth is being suppressed. So it's kind of like when you're not used to hearing it, anything, you know, it can be jolting. So this brother, this is from C-SPAN, years ago. And this is Kamal Kambon. Come here, present. Window? Haha. Okay. And so fine. What he has to say is a little harsh. But one has to ask, why is it necessary for a human being to make this statement? Why? Not the what, but why? Why? You know, it's kind of like maybe if it didn't happen to you, but you've seen it happen to someone else, or you saw it in a movie, or you saw it in real life, or you happened to a neighbor or a friend or a family member or something, and maybe somebody that you knew was just despised by somebody else, like seriously despised. At some point you're like, why do you hate them so much? Why? What did they, what is it Why? So it's high time that especially white people start contemplating. For those who are completely ignorant, it's time to fucking learn. And in an information age, there is no excuse for ignorance and uneducation. So that won't work. But it's high time for white people to sit down and review all the evil shit they've done and fucked up for humanity, and then contemplate, wow, why do people hate us so much? Why? You see? But the problem with that is they don't have the capacity for honesty with self or others. And as I always tell you, in order for there to ever be reconciliation between any parties around any issue, there must be acknowledgement. You never get it from these people. Never. Have never and will never. So then now you have to look at other options. But hear what this brother, that's a very short clip, but it goes to something I just said. And this was apparently around Hurricane Katrina issues facing African people. All right.
Now, how do I know that the white people know that we are going to come up with a solution to the problem? I know it because they have retina scans, they have what they call racial profiling, DNA banks, and they're monitoring our people to try to prevent the one person from coming up with the one idea. And the one idea is how we are going to exterminate white people. Because that, in my estimation, is the only conclusion I have come to. We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem. Now, I don't care whether you clap or not, but I'm saying to you that we need to solve this problem because they are going to kill us. And I will leave on that. So we have to just set up our own system and stop playing and get very serious and not be diverted from coming up with a solution to the problem. And the problem on the planet is white people. You know, I can follow
that one. So, again, while provocative, why? You see? Because, they're not reflective. And, usually anyone can just sit with themselves. You could just be an individual. You've been acting an ass at your job for the last year since you've been there, and you feeling vibes and things. And all of a sudden you have a moment of clarity and you go, I've really pissed everybody at work off. That's why they flattening my tires now. You feel me? I mean, it's so many layers, but that leads us directly into this, because what Amanda has to say speaks for me. Speaks for me. And there was a rally in Tel Aviv. And oh, by the way, before I say that, let me say this. This is glaring. We've not seen any reports of Israelis fleeing Israel. No reports. If you've seen something, bring it to me, because I'm happy to be wrong. But we've not seen any reports, to my estimate, of any, oh my God, we've got to get out. Mass evacuations from Israel. Just have not seen it. Which means they must be sitting very comfortable and safe. For all their Hamas is still attacking. Well, what are they attacking? Because we're not seeing any evidence of any attack by Hamas. Or anybody else, quite frankly, goddamn. You understand? Just hadn't seen the Israeli bitch running down the street. Running for her life. Just have not seen that glorious scene yet. Just hadn't seen it. Hadn't seen it. So, let's see this now. Okay, let's go.
Abby Martin has been doing incredible work in this space for quite a while, as reporting on Israel. And she went to a rally. It was an anti-immigrant rally in Tel Aviv. And this is such a good example of how Zionism is an extension of, or a sibling of, white supremacy, and how interconnected Zionism is with these systems of oppression, because this isn't just about Palestinians. This is about African immigrants in this instance. And you'll see here, I'll speak over, if they're not speaking in English for the podcast audience, but sorry, what'd you say, Bradley? Okay, but we're all set here. So this is a clip that I think you might have some thoughts on, Amanda.
With so many politicians openly calling to expel these so-called infiltrators and whipping up xenophobic hatred against refugees, we went to an anti-refugee rally in Tel Aviv, where demonstrators burned an effigy of the mayor for allowing the children of refugees into local schools.
And I'm a member of the Labour Party, and I consider myself left-wing. And I support this struggle because I think it's fair and it's just. They've come here with their practices and with their multitude of problems, and this cannot coexist. They must be removed en masse from here. What are you doing?
Policeman, what are you doing here?
Traveling around. You present somebody?
Huh? You cannot get inside.
What does that sign say?
What does that sign say? It says kids are not permission as a bypass for a non-permitted way of saying kids are not visas.
It's not, kids are not visas. So you want them to just stop breeding, yeah? This is not what I'm saying. If you stay inside the country in a rightful way, kids are not meant to bypass that. This is what we're saying.
But doesn't use a condom mean literally stop having sex? Like stop giving birth?
I don't talk about condoms. I'm saying do not want a child with a sign to use a condom.
I think we get a sense here. So that's a great, I mean, when he says I'm left wing, you know, within Israeli,
what wing is that?
There are liberal Zionism is a myth for that reason, because there's literally no way to be a left-wing settler colonizer, and they're just saying what Republicans say here in the U.S. about anchor babies and stop reproducing certain skin colors, etc. I mean,
liberalism is phony here too,
right?
So you know, there's that, because they're like, liberalism in America is like, yeah, it's all good as long as it doesn't disrupt my shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just you can't exist in an ethno-state which is defined by preserving the purity of the state based on a religion or race and call your ideology left-wing. But that's probably him thinking like, oh, I want some more healthcare here in Israel. Ideology left-wing, but the purity of the state based on a religion or preserving can't exist in an ethno-state which is yeah.
I mean,
so I mean, that's just such an.
What I'm trying to get back to is because, again, that echoes what I've said and say and know to be true. I've told you, white people are the same no matter where they are on earth, what language they speak, what title they claim they are. Italian, I'm Swiss, I'm European. This matters not. They are one. And what she just said echoes that when she said it sounds just like
you can't exist in an ethno-state which is defined
as long as it doesn't disrupt my shit.
I don't know how much
in America is like, yeah, it's all good as long as it doesn't disrupt my
So
we're gonna do it.
Stop reproducing certain. Just saying what Republicans say here in the U.S. about literally no way to be a left-wing settler colonizer. You know, within Israeli,
what wing is that?
There are liberal Zionism is a myth for that reason, because there's literally no way to be a left-wing settler colonizer, and they're just saying what Republicans say here in the U.S. about anchor babies and stop reproducing certain skin colors, etc. I mean,
liberalism is phony here too,
right?
So you know, there's that,
because they're the same people. Do you understand? And it's no fluke that Israel's our greatest ally, because it's just an annex of white bullshit. This, I always tell you, this is the seat of white evil, is America. This is their crown prince. This is the ultimate it. The only problem they have here is that there's too many people here that don't look like their white ass. So that's why they're constantly writing laws and little regulations and shit to control everybody that's not white. You see? But that's their annex. But it also represents their dream. Can there be a state set up that's just white people? Ooh, you see? So they're one. They're one.
That. Because they're like, liberalism in America is like, yeah, it's all good as long as it doesn't disrupt my shit.
Not loving Amanda's lipstick. Just had to tell it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just such an... You can't exist in an ethno-state which is defined by preserving the purity of the state based on a religion or race and call your ideology left-wing. But that's probably him thinking like, oh, I want some more help.
But I would argue, yes, you can. It's a big earth. It's a big earth. And before you even get to the rest of the earth, as someone who has driven across this bitch many times, I can tell you, for people that only fly, you're missing out. There are thousands and thousands of miles of absolutely nothing. So, yes, you can have your ethno-state, or that's only one religion or only one race. Take your bitch ass where no one else is and set your shit up. That's fine. We don't mind. We don't mind. But we don't mind. I don't mind. I don't. You see? But they're not content with that. Because they are miserable people amongst themselves and without drama and crisis. They just go crazy. Because they are also a people who must be agitated all the time, you know? Just agitated all the time, entertained, distracted, stimulated in some way, you know? Again, I always tell you, look at their society. You just in this bitch. You're not a citizen. You don't matter. You are unwanted leftover cargo in this bitch. And it's from that perspective that you will gain knowledge if you assume that position. Do you understand? This is their society. So you look at how they express everything. That's how you attain the wisdom of observation of your environment here, everybody. You got to cast yourself as a third-party observer. A tourist and shit. You feel me? Like, think about you go to somebody else's house. Ooh, I see how they set up their kitchen. I see how they set up their such and such. I see how they have their furniture, how they. You go to another country, you come back, you know, I was in Italy. They be charging this for this over here. In Italy, their bread looks like this. Their such and such is this. There. You see? You never say ours, we, mine. So you need to do that same shit here. That's what I do. This ain't my shit. You feel me? So you're able to see. So when you see how they express, you go to somebody's house, that is an expression of who they are, how they live. You know, your home should be your sanctuary. That's why I always tell you, don't just let anybody pass your threshold. Don't do it. Your home is your ultimate border. It is your fortress of solitude. It is the fullest expression of yourself. All the things you like, you enjoy, things you're interested in, how you do, colors you like, you know, whatever. It's all in your home. And then the next layer is your bedroom. Because that's where your soul resides. That's where your soul is taken each day and restored to you when you wake in the morning. This is the place. So you must see this as holy and sacred unto yourself. You see? Then you stop wearing shoes in the house. Muslims don't wear shoes in the house. You see? But that's just one thing, you know? And for me, when someone comes to my home to visit, if somebody's coming to my home and they're going to stay for a little while, I give them my bed. That is the highest honor I can give to you. It's one thing to honor you and have you come into my home. It is a next level. I give you my bed. is the highest. It is my intention to give you the highest honor I can give you in my home. You see? So when you look at how they express in this society, if you can get out of this thinking that you're part of it, then you sit back saying you same way you would in somebody else's house or another country, and you'll be observing it in that way more critically, and you'll be more observant. You see? And you would say that that's who they are. That's who they are. That's who they are. That's who they are. Look at how their media does. Oh, do you see how they lay out their roads? Do you see how their court system is? Do you see how their police act? That's how they do. That's them. That means their system and the bitch next door. You understand? That bitch on your job, whatever. The bitch at the stoplight next to you. It's them. It's theirs. This is them. This is them. This is them. This is them.
Healthcare here in Israel. But let's keep bombing the people 3 miles away from us until and starving them to death.
Well, it's very obviously, on multiple levels, a practice of discrimination, right? Like there's just it's in the language, it's in the way the children are taught, it's in the militarization, it's in the occupation. I mean, like there's no simply just like, oh, well, it's just these people who are being discriminatory, but that's not Zionism as a whole. Like it's a benchmark. It's literally an inherent part of how they carry it out. And so you also look at this and you say to yourself, what do you people fucking want, bro? Like imperialism as a actual construct basically is like, we're going to come all over the world and we're going to take your shit, but we don't want you to come over here. So we just want you guys to stay where you are, to let us come and destroy you and take your stuff.
Right.
But what happens at the end of that? Like it doesn't end. Like there's just this constant parasitic practice. And when I see stuff like this, it is very reminiscent of seeing white people with these like seething, angry faces, angry that Ruby Bridges is going to school with their children, right? It's the same faces that you see in Europe who are watching refugees who have risked their entire lives and their children's lives to get on boats. And they're just like, how dare they come here? And the irony as a Black person in particular is that those same people are so willing to take the cultures and the cultures and the spiritual practices and the fashions of all of these people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They just don't want the people.
What is Israeli food? What is Israeli food? I've been to an Israeli restaurant in the past. What is it? It's Middle East.
I have an answer for that. It's Palestinian food. They even have, I saw a documentary / report that about so-called Israeli restaurants here in America that are serving authentic Israeli food, and you have Palestinians that are going to that are doing the report and showing you this is our shit. It's some bullshit. It's a disrespect to the actual dish, and they show you the actual shit in Palestine. Like, you know what I mean? I can't.
It's Palestinian food. And they change the names. My stepmother is Palestinian. My brothers and sisters are Afro-Palestinian. And, you really are also, just by nature of that, I'm able to learn so much more just on a human level that a lot of people really haven't experienced yet. So like someone like this person who's saying like, I'm a left wing and I don't want them here. You ask them like, have you ever spoken to any of the people that you don't want here? Like, I wonder.
Well, we played a clip.
I gotta say this, it's so random, but so what? I love Amanda Seales. Like I said, I've already said I hate the lipstick. It's giving me a cataract in my left eye, and I don't know if I can go on. All right, but that said, I love a sister like this. This is like my ultimate dream woman. She's very girly. Obviously feminine, loves girly stuff, all of that. But is down in the fucking trenches, you understand what I'm saying? SisterSoldier.com. There she is, very girly with her little lipstick that I hate. All right, she's done her little hair, ha ha ha. But she's just a simple t-shirt and not trying to be just, she's got some nice earrings on. I don't like them, but I know sisters wear them. So I know it's a major thing, you feel me? So I respect it. It's familiar to me, all of that, but I'm just trying to snapshot and say, you see that? You know? I appreciate that. Like that's yeah.
And maybe you saw it from a few months ago. It was very long form of a settler who went across the border with somebody from Gaza, maybe it was the West Bank. I forget exactly.
In the West Bank.
In the West Bank, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, I had to overcome fear that I thought just by being with a Palestinian, he was going to kill me." And then I realized just the daily humiliations that they face, and I understood why they would rise up. And it was just like you see what Israeli society and how completely hermetically sealed it is. I heard I was hanging out with a friend who loves your show, by the way, on Wednesday, and she said,
before she says that, I want to say occasionally I watch the Majority Report. I've brought you pieces that from them in the past, but this is the ideal white bitch. I would add Sarah Haynes to that from The View. Know your place. Stand down. Don't try and infiltrate. Don't try and be overly familiar, but know some shit. And speak what is the truth. You see? And I've not seen anything other than that from, I don't even know her name. Oh, Abby Martin. Yeah, that's the ideal white bitch right there. You know, when we talk about allies, a word I hate makes me vomit. But that would be it. So any white people viewing, this should be your posture. Not contention, not denial, and trying to gaslight or, excuse. What we say is what's right. Because we know better than you, period. Because it's happening to us, you see? So take a cue from people like her and others who would be like her. All right.
And she knows somebody who just was in Israel for a 300-person wedding. And there are IDF soldiers commuting that were at the wedding because they were in Gaza the day before and then they're coming back and just in the wedding, right? And like that is how society.
Yes, there it is.
It's so normalized, right? And they're getting their nails done, and people are starving to death right across the border,
the street. Yeah,
right.
And there's just no, like I think mechanism within Israeli society right now to educate people whatsoever. The indoctrination is so deep, and that's why I get so annoyed when I hear now liberals in this country talking about how Netanyahu's really bad. He's got to go. No. This needs to be deconstructed because it's much deeper than the big bad.
1000%. I mean, by the way, Netanyahu the other day was at like an African summit saying, Theodore Herzl, the founder of Zionism, said that after we free the Jews, we're going to.
Why was he allowed at an African summit and he wasn't, at the very least, arrested would have been kind and massacred at the very worst? I'm not understanding.
Zionism said that after we free the Jews, we're going to free the black people in Africa. And I'm just like, no, don't listen. But I really don't. And this is part of like the cap being blown off of like what you think of America, right? Because what you're saying, it's not in the exact same context, but it's like we live adjacent to houseless people on a regular basis, where we have effectively, as a society, there's an effective effort to say those people are bad. Be afraid of those people, right? Like there is a constant effort to vilify folks who may cause a discomfort to the comfort of capitalism. Right? Or to the comfort of white supremacy, or to just the comfort. Yes. Like just the comfort in general.
I mean, the Jordan Neely story, I'm sure you remember. I Ben Shapiro and other right-wing outlets, I guess, clipped my commentary on this on this program, and we're going off about it because what I was saying there is that, you know, people are essentially saying you can execute this person because of my comfort is more important than his life. And we're seeing this in kind of the late stage capitalist moment that we're in, which is that cities and places where people live are not they're not being designed for livability. They're designed for capitalism. So people can come in from Long Island and see a show in New York and take a subway and not have their experience in Disneyland Manhattan ruined, as opposed to like, how are we choosing to construct our society in a way where people can live as opposed to where people can make money? And our urban centers are becoming these kind of pristine theme parks as opposed to livable areas for human beings. And who gets pushed out? Well, it's the people on the front lines of white supremacy and capitalism.
It's like there's just so much wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you end up having to ask yourself, okay, so where's my role in this? Once I know better, I have to do better. So where's my role in this, right? So like I've come to realize I'm a bullhorn. Like that's my role. Like I'm the bullhorn for like, hey, if you didn't know about this, this could be something you want to know about, because a lot of people have this energy of like, I want to be a part of shifting things like this. Like, okay, I'm realizing that our cities are Disneylands and they're not livable. How do we fix this? And that might be your passion, but you didn't even know that was a space where you can actually create change. Here you go. And when I look at what's going on in Gaza and in the West Bank, again, it's deeper because it's not just about capitalism as much as it's also it's not just capitalism, because they've also entrenched so many other devices to make it work, right? They've entrenched racism in there. They've been able to effectively co-opt Judaism as their method, even though there's swaths of Jewish people who are like, don't put me in this. I am not that. But I feel like for so many of us, we learned about colonialism in a very specific context. Now we are watching it play out in a very clear version in Palestine. And then it comes back to us in the ways in which it exists in our own doorsteps, right? Like even when we think about like Katrina and the way that people in the Ninth Ward in Katrina were treated, you know, people calling them refugees. I'm like, they're in New Orleans.
Yes, they're Americans. Right. Yeah.
What?
It's
another they moment. How did they react at Katrina? They didn't give a fuck about black people. They prevented black people from crossing one of these main bridges that would take them over to where there was electricity, there was food, there was water. They would have been safe, all of it. But they had their fucking white ass fucking police standing on the bridge saying anyone who comes this way is gonna get shot. They did that. They, damn it. That includes the bitch next door.
You're exactly right on that front. And I think also people have abstracted the Holocaust also from history of like,
stop separating their systems and their bureaucracies from the individuals, the actual culture of people. I just lost a tooth. I didn't have another word.
You know, it's just never forget, but like, what is the context that allowed the Holocaust to happen? What is the context that allowed other genocides to happen perpetrated by the West? And how is this a continuation of the nationalism that was, and the fascism of Nazi Germany, but just like in Israel now being done by a religious government there? And it's, if you don't have that context, you just see things in silos, and it's about groups, but without any material basis underneath it.
And we could have been lied to, because we know they are the authors of deception and lies, the very authors of it. So we don't know why there was this alleged Holocaust, this white on white crime. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know.
The other part of it too is that it's like if it didn't happen to white people, a lot of people just don't think it really happened. I mean,
amen. What did I say to you last night? And then I read you one of my comments from a video I left a comment on, and I said in the comment I said, let's be clear, let's not act like there's not a racial component to all of this. If 30,000 white people had been murdered off, and you wouldn't even need 30 million white people, just even one white bitch goes missing and they want you to stop the earth. You see? So because it's not 30,000 white people, I said they really don't give a fuck. Well, that's not new words from me for you. You know I have said that and think that. But I said it again, and then there it is, Amanda saying it. You know, it's not white people, so...
The nationalism that was and the fascism of Nazi Germany, but just like in Israel now being done by a religious government there. And it's, if you don't have that context, you just see things in silos, and it's about groups, but without any material basis underneath it.
Well, the other part of it too is that it's like if it didn't happen to white people, a lot of people just don't think it really happened. I mean, like, we talk about the Holocaust, but we don't talk about Congo. And I don't mean like what's happening in the DRC right now. I mean like what happened in the DRC with Leopold, right? Like we discount the fact that there was a British massacre in Kenya like 50 years ago. Like, you know, like the Germans were in Namibia. I mean, like there's been, I mean, do we even talk about Australia and the complete...
But again, she said the British were in Congo and Germans were in Namibia. We see them as one. White people were in the Congo and white people were in Namibia. You see, this is the proper thinking, everybody. One of the ways that they keep you scattered is having you think that they're different. They're not the same monster. They are the same monster and the bitch next door.
Complete effort to genocide the Aboriginal people. And I mean, go watch Rabbit Proof Fence, you know, so like this, the Holocaust was terrible. It was absolutely horrible. I shouldn't even have to say all of that, but you know, where we are in the times we are. So I'm going to say all of that. It was not the first. It is not the last. We're watching another version right now. And it's always been attached to the preservation of some white bullshit. And at this point, I'm really like, who started this?
And let us not let this get past us. That she can sit there and be her entire full blackness and this white bitch receive it. That's what it must be. I'm going to sit here and tell you whiteness is some bullshit and it's the cause of the shit, and you're going to take it, white bitch. That's what you're going to do, because that's what's right. You see? So this has so many delicious points on it in several different areas, man.
Right now. And
right now. Just a little bit.
Terrible. It was absolutely horrible. I shouldn't even have to say all of that, but you know where we are.
But they want you to
put
that on there when you mention it. Like it's just like you'll notice when they mention October 7th. It was brutal. It was horrible. It was a massacre. It was what's the other one they fucking use? I don't know. But you have to use all these fucking adjectives and shit. Like it was some bullshit, but it didn't happen. So it wasn't really some bullshit. I mean, we just shorthand stuff as black. Look, it was some bullshit. Like that's we don't gotta go through all. You live longer. You feel me? Like, look, it was just some bullshit. It just was.
I'm gonna say all of that. It was not the first. It is not the last. We're watching another version right now, and it's always been attached to the preservation of some white bullshit. And at this point, I'm really like, who started this? Like, is this some extraterrestrial shit? Like,
who started it and what don't we know about our true existence? This is why even the flat earth stuff is so important, because, and why did all the nations agree that you can't go to Antarctica? Like, for all the shit that happens between in World War I and II and the shit, but no, everybody agrees don't go to Antarctica. Why? Why? Damn it, why? 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 For at least better than a couple of hours, probably more. There was, when I was flying, I think when I was coming back, because the 7 hours to Senegal didn't happen, so it must have been the Paris to LA. But the first anomaly was when we took off out of Paris, we just kept climbing, dude. Usually your ascent is maybe 5 minutes or something like that. 5 good minutes. You know, if you just sit for 5 minutes and just think how long 5 minutes is, you know. About 5 minutes. I'll even go to 8. And then you level off. We just kept climbing. Kept climbing. We just kept climbing. I think I even said, when are we going to level off? And, but at some point, I saw something that didn't look like anything else. Like, you know, usually you look down, you see the water, or you see, you know, land or farm area, or you could see that, you know, there's divided acres and stuff, or you see, you know, you see mountains, stuff like that. This was something else, y'all. I can't describe it to you. Yeah, I can't describe it, you know. But to digress, you know, when Amanda says, you know, who started all this? Yeah, like, who started all this? You know, it's one of the other grudges I have against white people, because they have fucked up existence and the knowledge of history. Like, every human being is supposed to be able to know what came before them. There's many cultures who have oral traditions and oral histories. We see all the hieroglyphics that the Egyptians left. They're not the only ones. There's many other African societies that left writings and markings and artwork and statues and things, writings, language and stuff, to give you some sense of what came before. Where did their bitch ass come from? You know, like, where did they come from? Because I've already killed this whole all life began in Africa bullshit. Don't bring that to my throne. Don't do it. You know, and when did they, you know, like, we hear about all this conquering that went on, and, you know, remember the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria that sailed, and then it was Magellan and the fucking, you know, like, where was the mindset that there was even something somewhere to go and take? You know, like, I mean, what? You go to another state right now, you ask somebody, I mean, where's the place to hang out at? What's the spot? You feel me? So, and that's just to another state. Here you are, a whole fucking allegedly other continents away. How are you getting anywhere? Like, the earth is not laid out like we've been told, everybody. I believe that. I believe that. I believe the fuck out of that. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I believe that. It's not laid out like we've been told, and history is not what has been sold, because something happened, you know? Something else that the extreme minority, the most unattractive, and the only entity on the earth, the only thing on the earth that the sun doesn't serve is white people. We have to question that, even if we were white ourselves. That must be questioned. The very sun that gives life to everything. The plants, photosynthesis, to us, it brings out our vitamin D. It evaporates the water up to the heavens to send it back down to the earth. There's a cycle that goes on, and it warms the earth, and, you know, all these things. But nothing but cancer for them and a sunburn, bitch. I mean, what don't we know? So when she asks, who started this shit? Like, it's a funny but really profound question.
It was not the first. It is not the last. We're watching another version right now. And it's always been attached to the preservation of some white bullshit. And at this point, I'm really like, who started this? Like, is this some extraterrestrial shit? Yeah. Like, I'm like, because white people burn in the sun and nobody else does. So tell me, where did this
Lucky, I know she even said that, y'all. I saw only a portion of this. I'm like, I know she's fire, so I didn't need to watch the whole clip. I just scanned my thing over like you do, like this right here. Hopefully you can see it, or if it's going to pick up. Just to see if she's on the whole clip, and that was good for me. I already know her brand. But there she just said what the fuck I just said. SubhanAllah. Allahu Akbar.
Who started this? Like, is this some extraterrestrial shit? Yeah. Like, I'm like, because white people burn in the sun and nobody else does. So tell me, where did this start? Because it is so pervasive. It has been going for so long, and it started as like white on white crime in like with like Vikings and the British, and, you know, then and you know, Braveheart, and then it was just like, you know what, let's expand. Right. Let's do more. So at this point, I'm like, is this a human thing? Is it? I mean, I ask these questions all the time. I really hope that there's a interstellar.
I get her. I can't see because of that fucking microphone bullshit. She's got her advertisement up there, but I think her shirt says press. Then she has the kafia over her chair. That's deep. You feel me? Because more people, more media have been killed in this genocide than any other conflict ever in the history of ever. And that's deep. Like, that's the blue color they wear on the vest and the press. Like, I see what she doing right there. Amanda, my girl, what's up? Holla at your boy.
A version where I just go to the other side and everything's explained, and I can like drop books in Morse code to the Amanda that's here now.
That would be nice.
To like,
yeah,
be effective in helping.
Wow. Okay. I want to first now go to the piece that I meant to show you last night first. You know, I'm going to come to, wait, what's playing? Stop it. We support Katie Porter, so such a shit. Okay, what's happening? Why is this playing? What is this? Is that the clip I just played? Oh, okay, it is. My bad. My bad and stuff. First, I have to play you what. Well, this leads us into the piece I was trying to play for you last night, because this is part of the piece I played for you last night, but I know this was part of what I played you last night, because what I played you last night of this first piece was I was focusing on how pathetic the diaper was, sitting there reading the bullshit they're going to make airdrops of aid into Gaza, and fuck this dude. But there's something else that was there that is worth your viewing. Yes, because what president is she? She is the president of Italy. She's the prime minister of Italy. Listen to what she had to say. Wait, does she speak in this one? Because there's two clips. Yeah, she speaks in this one. Hear this shit. Bring you in. Nope. Present. Viral moment. It's very short, but listen to what she says, everybody. SubhanAllah. This is after the diaper speaks, so we don't need the diaper anymore. We dealt with him last night.
Resources, but it has been neglected and
wait.
Then building on Italy
wait.
With all regional actors that must
wait.
be part of any the dialogue, our
wait.
dialogue within
Wait.
To hosting you in
Georgia. We have a lot to discuss today.
Okay, this is the diaper. Trying to look whatever.
Deal between Israel and Hamas.
I got no house volume on this. I can't even hear if you can hear it.
Returned and immediate ceasefire in Gaza.
I have no house volume on
At least
this.
the
I
next
can't
6
hear if you
weeks.
can hear it.
And to allow the surge of aid his entire
Okay, you're going to need to turn your volume up, everybody. You must hear this, or I will be at your house.
We're talking about everything from China on, but I'm happy you're here and delighted that you came back.
I'm going to let it play. Turn your volume up. Turn everything up. Turn it up, 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 up.
Well, I'm delighted to be here today, G7 chair, and I look forward, Joe, to hosting you in Puglia next June for the Leader Summit. I'm working on a concrete and substantial G7 summit. We intend first and foremost to reaffirm the rule-based international order, defending freedom and building peace for Ukraine. And in doing this, I think we need to tackle the narrative that wants the West against the rest. So the dialogue, our dialogue within the G7, within the global South is essential. The crisis in the Middle East is of the utmost concern. We need to coordinate our actions in order to avoid an escalation, and in this regard, we do fully support the U.S. mediation efforts. The humanitarian crisis is our number one priority. Italy is concentrating its contribution on this. Meanwhile, we are cooperating with all regional actors that must be part of any future outcome. We should work together on concrete steps to guarantee the two-state perspective, which is the only long-term sustainable solution. And then the Houthis' attack on commercial vessels that endanger freedom of navigation in the Red Sea are unacceptable. EU naval operation Aspides, as you know, is under Italian tactical command, is an important response to the disruption of transit through the Red Sea. Then building on Italy's role in the Mediterranean, the G7 will pay special attention also to the African continent. We've been discussing it for many times.
The G7 will pay special attention to the African continent. Shut up, Jedi. Damn it.
we have to remember that Africa is not a poor continent. It is for many times. But I think we have to remember we'll pay special attention also to the African continent. We've been discussing
Just
it. That, as you know, is under on commercial vessels that endanger freedom.
I'm dealing with. You're gonna have to get echo.
Of navigation in the Red Sea are unacceptable. EU naval operation Aspides, that as you know is under Italian tactical command, is an important response to the disruption of transit through the Red Sea. Then building on Italy's role in the Mediterranean, the G7 will pay special attention also to the African continent. We've been discussing it for many
Pay special attention to the African continent.
times. But I think we have to remember that Africa is not a poor continent.
We have to remember that Africa is not a poor continent. This is the Italian Prime Minister. We have to remember that Africa is not a poor continent. Go on.
It is, at the contrary, incredibly rich in
On the contrary, it is incredibly rich
human and material resources.
in human and material resources.
But it has been neglected
It has been neglected
and
exploited
with a predatory approach.
I went, what? How did I miss that? Because I cut it off after the diaper.
For a long time. And I want to reverse this approach.
And I want to reverse this approach
together with you.
Which, if I'm African, I'm feeling some type of way where you sitting and plotting on where my house. Bitch, you haven't talked to me. You're not doing shit here at my house. I mean, appreciate what she's saying. But I'm looking forward to working together with you. You Italian, this motherfucker is the head of the Satan. Why are you discussing my house? That's how I feel. But that's profound.
Which is also a root cause of the migration crisis.
You see? But it's never been, nobody says that out loud. Africa is not a poor continent. It's incredibly rich. Had to get that in. All right. Just in case there might have been something else I needed to say.
We need to support Africa's development on an equal basis and put an end to illegal migration while fighting human trafficking. Human trafficking has become the most financially rewarding crime globally, and we cannot accept it any longer. For this reason, I came here today also with a proposal to launch a global alliance against human traffickers. The G7 will discuss...
Okay, blah, blah, the human trafficking, and that's all fine. I'm over it. All right. All right. Now, let's go to the piece that I had set to share with you last evening that was supposed to go with the whole Israel bullshit. Because they are bringing credence to my claim that Israel was killing its own people on 7th October. Do you understand? This is how Israeli army ordered troops to fire on Israelis on 7th October. It's a discussion piece, but the value to you is great. Let's see this now come to you.
You published a phenomenal report based on information that was only published in Hebrew, I think, still to this day, about more on the Hannibal Directive ordered by Israeli commanders.
The Hannibal Directive, I told you, is a rule of combat on the books for the Israeli military for years. whereby if any of their soldiers are compromised on the battlefield, that you're supposed to kill them off. You understand? No capturing of Israelis, so they never have to negotiate with the other side once the shit is over. You feel me? So that's the Hannibal directive or doctrine, whatever. All right,
Still to this day, about more on the Hannibal directive ordered by Israeli commanders to have their troops fire on Israeli civilians on October 7th. And you've prepared, a presentation here about that report and these findings. And so let's get into it.
Okay, thank you very much, Nora. Do you remember this video from the aftermath of the 7th of October assault?
And remember, I said to you, go back and watch my earliest piece on this whole bullshit. One of my first pieces of evidence I began to present to you was all we're seeing is burned out cars. That apparently Hamas's rockets only hit cars. They can't hit anything else, apparently. So that's... So I thought it interesting when he said, okay, shut up, Jedi.
Right. Do you remember this video from the aftermath of the 7th of October assault? Hundreds of destroyed cars were rounded up by the Israeli military and later piled up in a car lot in Netivot, an Israeli settlement near Gaza. Would it shock you to learn that much of this destruction was caused not by Palestinians, but by Israel? If you're one of our regular viewers or listeners, this won't come as a surprise. But now, a major new investigative piece by 2 Israeli journalists shows that official Israeli estimates have privately concluded.
By the way, in that picture is the Tomahawk Apache helicopter that I highlighted for you in another piece. Go on.
A major new investigative piece by 2 Israeli journalists shows that official Israeli estimates have privately concluded that at least 70 of these vehicles were blown up by Israel. That is to say, by helicopter gunships, drones, or tanks. Many of these vehicles, driven by Palestinian fighters on their way back to Gaza, contained Israelis that they had taken captive. This new piece that you can see here was published in 7 days, which is the weekend supplement of the mainstream Israeli newspaper Yediot Ahronot. And this piece confirms what we've been saying all along, which is that Israel reactivated the Hannibal directive on the 7th of October. Journalists Ronan Bergman and Yoav Zitun wrote that it is not clear at this stage how many of the captives were killed due to the operation of this order. That is an order to the Air Force that they should prevent return to Gaza at all costs. And a quote from the article, at least in some of the cases, everyone in the vehicle was killed, the journalist explained. Now that, of course, would have included many Israeli captives. Now the paper's online version, Ynet, has not translated the piece into English. So we asked our longtime professional Hebrew translator and Israel expert, Dina Shunra, to translate it for us. So all quotes of the article that I'm reading now are taken from that translation, and you can read it in its entirety at the end of this report that I've written at the electronicintifada.net. So we'll put a link to it in the description for this episode. Now, Bergman and Zitun's investigation found that at midday on the 7th of October, Israel's Supreme Military Headquarters ordered all units to prevent the capture of Israeli citizens, quote, at any cost, unquote, including by firing on them. Quote, at midday of October 7th, the IDF instructed...
Now, we take this with suspicion, because again, my main foundational claim is that it didn't fucking happen at all. Nothing happened. Not a single fucking Israeli was injured on fucking October 7th. Not even one. Not even one. Not even one. Because forget the ones that they claim were so savagely killed that they were raped and they were set on fire and somebody was thrown into a blender and we just can't go on. Alright, where is the bitch with just even a bandage on her forehead? Just, we don't have it. So that's fine. That's my charge, and I maintain that. So this could be propagandistic to then say, oh, well, we're admitting that we did kill some of our own. There was this report that's leaked. Ooh, you weren't supposed to know, but you're finding out. And I can still hold my charge and say, if there happens to be somewhere some evidence that I've not seen, because there isn't, because I would have seen it by now, how many months are we in? Then it still didn't happen, and they just killed their own people.
All its fighting units to perform the Hannibal Directive in practice, although it did so without stating that name explicitly. End of quote. As the Israeli piece explains, and as we've reported in detail recently, the Hannibal Directive was established in 1986 after the capture of 2 Israeli soldiers in then-occupied southern Lebanon by fighters from the Lebanese resistance group Hezbollah. The secretive Hannibal Doctrine is named after an ancient Carthaginian general who poisoned himself instead of being captured alive by the Roman Empire. Now, Bergman and Zaytoun say that the original wording of the Hannibal Directive ordered Israeli forces to, quote, halt the capturing force at any price, and that, quote, in the course of a capture, the main task becomes rescuing our soldiers from the captors, even at the price of hitting or injuring our soldiers, end of quote. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that the concept of rescuing Israelis by shooting at them is an interesting one, to say the least. In 2016, the Israeli military claimed that the Hannibal Doctrine had been revoked or at least clarified, depending on which reports you believe. But as we've been saying for the past 4 months, all indications were, in reality, that Israel had revived the Hannibal Directive and has been using it to kill Israelis since the Palestinian military offensive that began on the 7th of October. Bergman and Zaytoun's new article is the first confirmation, by Israeli media no less, that there was a specific order from the top of Israel.
Because it's supposed to be just for military, but I'm maintaining, and I believe they are too, that it wasn't just military, that they were killing civilians, you see. And certainly at that damn concert that they claim happened.
Military hierarchy to react.
Because I brought you evidence of that when I highlighted the Tomahawk Apache helicopter and blah, 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 and witnesses that said that soldiers were firing on them and that the helicopter was firing.
This suicidal military doctrine on the 7th of October. Bergman and Zaytoun's article says that at midday on the 7th of October, the Israeli military, quote, decided to return to a version of the Hannibal Directive. They write that, quote, the instruction was to stop at any cost any attempt by Hamas terrorists, I'm quoting from them, to return to Gaza, using language very similar to that of the original Hannibal Directive, despite repeated promises by the defense apparatus that the directive had been cancelled, end of quote. Now, none of this means that the attack that began on the 7th of October was a false flag, or even that Palestinians didn't kill any civilians at all. But what it does mean is that, in the words of another Israeli article, which we reported on last month, quote,
I didn't see that. I didn't hear that part. Now, none of this means that the attack wasn't a false bitch. It was a false flag. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? If nobody's thinking that, why would you say that? It's like you and your wife are about to go out for your anniversary dinner, and she can't find one of her earrings. And she says, honey, didn't you see it like when we came in last week or something like that? Nah, babe, it's not like I was out cheating on you that night or something. We talking about the earring. Why are you... It would be that random. So why did he just say that? You feel me?
Another Israeli article, which we reported on.
Now, this doesn't mean this was a false flag. It was a fucking false flag. Now, that's even more evidence.
Or even that Palestinians didn't kill any civilians at all. But what it does mean is that, in the words of another Israeli article, which we reported on last month, quote, casualties fell as a result of friendly fire on October 7th, but the IDF believes that beyond the operational investigations of the events, it would not be morally sound to investigate these incidents due to the immense and complex quantity of them that took place. An immense and complex quantity of friendly fire, but neither was... Yeah, that's what it says there. It says that there was an immense and complex quantity of friendly fire. It's an interesting idea. But neither was the 7th of October a massacre of Israeli civilians by Palestinian terrorists, the way it's being portrayed by the mainstream media. Rather, it was a carefully calculated military offensive planned for possibly as long as 2 years in advance. It was aimed overwhelmingly at military targets. Hamas insists that it did not aim to kill civilians, but that some faults may have occurred. Rather, its targets were military bases and outposts, as well as the militarized Israeli settlements along the frontier with Gaza, which by their very nature blur the distinction between military and civilian targets and act as human shields for the Israeli military. Indeed, one of the Gaza frontier settlements, Magen, is literally the Hebrew word for shield. Hamas says that it aimed to kill or capture Israeli soldiers. To quote our narrative, this document you can see on the screen here, which was recently released by Hamas. Quote, Operation Al-Aqsa Flood on October 7 targeted Israeli military sites and sought to arrest the enemy's soldiers to put pressure on the Israeli authorities to release the thousands of Palestinians held in Israeli jails through a prisoner exchange deal. Therefore, the operation focused on destroying the Israeli army's Gaza division, the Israeli military sites stationed near the Israeli settlements around Gaza. End of quote. Hamas's military assault was well planned and very precisely executed. And the Bergman Zitun article provides a large amount of new evidence confirming this. Hundreds of Israeli soldiers were killed and about 240 Israelis were captured, including dozens of soldiers. Civilians were also taken prisoner, but Hamas offered to release them right away and actually did release them as soon as it was physically possible to do so during the week-long pause in fighting in November. The 7th of October was an unprecedented military success for the Palestinian resistance. To quote the words of a very senior Israeli military officer in the Bergman and Zitun article, the Gaza division was overpowered. The journalist's sources watched the day unfold from the Israeli military's Supreme Military Command position, which is an underground bunker deep below Tel Aviv, known as the Pit. The journalists recount that, quote, there was an almost total shock and such words quote, had not been heard since the Yom Kippur War of October 1973. In fact, the Pit was almost totally in the dark. They had no clue about the scale of what was happening on the ground. According to Bergman and Zaytoun, quote, they turned to television and to social media feeds, to Telegram, primarily to Hamas channels. End of quote. The reason for this intelligence failure was quite simple. Hamas had skillfully targeted the communications infrastructure. Another quote. A preliminary investigation held in the last few days about the communication capacity of the Gaza division exposed the fact that some 40% of the communication sites, such as towers with relay antennas that the telecommunications department had deployed in recent years near the Gaza Strip border, were destroyed by Hamas on the morning of the invasion. Soon after the first videos of the Israeli captives emerged at midday, Israel's top military headquarters issued the order to all units to carry out the Hannibal Directive, Israel's suicidal military doctrine. The article also confirms a lot of the Electronic Intifada's previous reporting since the 7th of October about that day. In November, we reported on Israeli air footage, as well as interviews with attack helicopter pilots, showing that they had been ordered to shoot at everything. That's a quote from an article, shoot at everything, moving between Israel's frontier settlements and Gaza. That Israeli article stated that, quote, in the first 4 hours, helicopters and fighter craft attacked about 300 targets, most in Israeli territory. You can see the footage of it there. Now, Bergman and Zatoun's new article confirms this and actually expands on it, saying that by the end of the day, Drone Squadron 161 alone, quote, performed no fewer than 110 attacks on some 1,000 targets, most of which were inside Israel.
Okay, there's only a couple more minutes of this. This is also important, everybody, because close your eyes and think. Have you heard even a single number offered to you of how many Israeli soldiers have been killed? Think carefully. Have you heard any report of any number of Israeli soldiers that have been killed? And if you haven't, that's because either A, they're getting wiped the fuck out and they don't want to admit it, or B, they are not being fought by this imaginary Hamas that doesn't have a military, and therefore it's all one-sided. If you don't have some numbers to show me or any casualties, I ain't seen a bitch with a broken toenail from Israel. So again, you would think you would want to show something to show that it's at least a two-sided thing to some degree. At least they're fighting back or doing something to defend themselves or something. And we're not seeing it. I've seen some independent video from Gaza that is supposed to be from Hamas of them attacking tanks and, you know, various victories and blowing up soldiers and things like that. But why no major reporting of this? You know, it's very glaring is the title I put on it. Just a couple more minutes of this.
End of quote. As we reported in English for the first time, Israeli news media last month showed footage of tank operators that you can see here firing at Israeli homes inside a kibbutz during the battles with the Palestinian resistance on the 7th of October.
And I defined for you early on in the
confirmed
genocide,
our reports back in October
that kibbutz, they just been throwing that word out there. They attacked the kibbutz, the kibbutz, the kibbutz. Butz my ass bitch. A kibbutz is nothing but a fucking militarized settlement, really. You know, the citizens are armed, or the occupants are armed, etc., etc. So don't make it seem they use this word as if it's just some little chateau where people are just sort of lounging and having sweet tea or something, and it's not that at all. You see?
About the testimony of Yasmin Porat, and we were the first to report on that in English. She was one of only 2 survivors of an Israeli attack on a home in Kibbutz Be'eri. That building contained around a dozen captives held by Palestinian fighters, and Porat told Israeli media that the Palestinians had treated them humanely. But she said that the Israeli army ended a standoff with the fighters by deliberately tank shelling the house, even though the captives were still present, and she and one other woman were the only survivors of that. Porat later elaborated that the casualties of the Israeli attack included this girl, 12-year-old Israeli captive.
Israeli
Liel
child burned
Hatzroni.
completely by Israeli tank fire at the goddammit kibbutz.
Now, Hatzroni's photo, you may have seen it, was later used in propaganda by Israeli officials who wrongly claimed she had been burnt alive by Hamas because she's Jewish, was what Naftali Bennett, the former Israeli prime minister, said. You can see him lying here in this tweet. Now, although it's being aggressively ignored by mainstream media in the West, who are even trying to punish independent journalists like us who report accurately on this, Israel's suicidal military doctrine is making waves inside Israeli society. "We are killing our people," was how one family member of the captives pleaded. Families of the captives want to see their loved ones come home safely and are pushing for the Israeli government for that to happen by agreeing to a prisoner exchange deal with Hamas that would release all Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. Even Asa Kasher, the author of the Israeli army's so-called Code of Ethics, agrees with the families and is now calling for an immediate investigation of how the Hannibal Directive was used. But the reality seems to be that the Israeli government doesn't want the captives to come home alive. It says the price of that would be a prisoner exchange deal to release the Palestinians. And that's why it has unleashed the Hannibal Directive. You can read more about all this in my article, and also remember that we've published the full text of the English
and blah, blah.
translation of that Bergman Zetoun article appended to my own piece, so you can read that in full there.
Okay.
Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe.
Hit like, leave a comment. These engagements help us with the YouTube algorithm and it helps us to get around.
Yeah, I had to get that in. Okay. All right, let me see what you are saying. What you guys are saying? What are you guys saying? That wasn't white enough. Somehow. I almost vomited, so it was close. Just didn't have it. Just did not have it. Just didn't have it. Black Beauty, always you say, yes, Jedi, I remember watching $6 Million Man. And I had my first kiss because this girl that lived across the street from us, Sherelle Freeman, we used to play the Bionic Man and Bionic Woman. So she come over and ask, can I play, you know? So we be playing. I'd be the Bionic Man, she'd be the Bionic Woman. But she was my first kiss. And a little side note to that story, fast forward to, we're just kids then, obviously, in grade school. And then, or elementary, I should say. And then fast forward to, I have graduated high school. I'm working for JCPenney. And Sherelle is now in her senior year of high school. And her mother came to my job to ask me if I would take Sherelle to her prom. And Sherelle used to have, she was just a goofy looking girl when we was little, but Sherelle turned into a peacock. I was like, yeah. So it was just so appropriate that we ended up going to her prom together. And I got another kiss too. So there's that. But we used to play Bionic Man and Bionic Woman. I'd be Steve Austin, she'd be Jamie Summers. Cheryl, no sound, Jedi. Where? On what, Sean? On what, Sean? There was a couple of pieces that I played that the sound was low. Black Beauty Jedi, I always had a hard time also believing that the creator of this world is a jealous God. Thank you, Black Beauty. Just your soul told you that. Just your being. Nobody had to come and say, Black Beauty, you know, we need to talk to you real fast and stuff, girl. No, you just know. This is the fitra. You understand? This is, you come to earth with things that Allah has already given you. It's in your DNA. It's in your being. You already know. You know already. Anjane, turn the volume up if you can. On what, y'all? Anjane, that's to San and Cheryl. Cheryl to Anjane. Oh, I forget I can pop these out. Andrea Smith, big shout out to you, Queen. I see you, girl. Righteous, they are just naturally adversarial. They really can't help themselves. I believe that, like I said, but my language is born evil. You see, just born evil. Born evil. It's just in them, you know. Righteous, or San to righteous, righteous to San, these mofos just deleted my last post. Are you serious? I can't see it on this software the way I see it on YouTube. I'm not seeing YouTube. I'm seeing the StreamYard stuff. It has a different layout. Also, you guys, when you see comment, like when you're on, like, not live, but like when in the comment section, when it's just a recorded video, and you see the comment section, you'll see your comment. Go up and hit the sort by, and then click on show newest first, and usually it'll show you all the comments. Because sometimes it'll say like 10 comments, I'll see like 3. You know. So keep that in mind. Son to righteous. Let's see, righteous indignation. You say, that's so funny because I literally refer to them as the alien group. There's no way they are part of humanity. And I used to always say they weren't even created by Allah. But you know, Allah instructs me in the Quran that He has created every living thing. So my little ass has to make that fit inside of that decree. So they're the jinn. There, I fixed it. I did it. They are created by Allah, but they are the jinn. They are the jinn, which is the civilization of entities that Allah created before He created mankind. San, she know who started it all. She doesn't have to ask that. Righteous. The joke to me is that they have told us that they are they have told us that they are the vampires. Not to mention all their obsession with you know, horror and, you know, blood and skulls and, you know, all that kind of shit. Yes, son, the diaper. And not a good one. And Righteous is dying laughing. Son, Jedi. And speaking on Africa, did you know that Ghana has passed a law no person can identify as... yeah, I know that. And I also saw Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. This was after the cackling whore had been there and made her proclamation. He was very firm and unequivocal. He said, as long as I am your president. I can't quote him now because I don't know all the exact words. But he was like, there'll never be any LBGT shit in Ghana, period, at the end. And then he said something, he kept repeating it. Something like, that I promise you, or that is something, but like, that, like there's no mistake about this. You feel me? I may see if I can pull that just because I'm probably gonna pull that. Khalifa of the Most High. A big shout out to you, King. Great one. I was able to see Farrakhan's 2024 Savior's Day message. He presented a photo of Nethan, fuck you, and the Hamas leader in a toast celebrating their cooperative plans regarding the 23 attacks. I have that staged because I thought we might go through it, but I was going to go through it after I watched it. But it's 3 hours, and I haven't even finished my stream from last night. So I haven't gotten to it, Khalifa. But that's provocative, interesting. And so we probably will do the Savior's Day thing tomorrow, because I was trying to find it after Robert had cited it, but couldn't find it. And he had to literally give me the actual thing you got to type in last night. And then when you type exactly, then you see it. So I just haven't had a chance to watch it. And, but hopefully I'll get a chance to watch it, you know, into the night this evening. And maybe at some point tomorrow before I can come live and present. But that's interesting. That's interesting. Him and the Hamas leader? I'm gonna have to see that. Anjane, the video with the black man was really low. Yeah. Wait. I don't remember which videos I played now. Yeah, I don't remember what I played. I won't know until I see this back now. I don't know what I played. A black man. I don't know. Son, go Jedi. I had my first kiss by my childhood friend named James Adams. I was crazy about him. He's married and lives in my hometown, Indianapolis. And I'm married, as you know, and live in Florida, LOL. Man, And I'm giving Cheryl her props, but I had blossomed too. You feel me? I looked like a little something. You feel me? Matter of fact, random as fuck, y'all. But this is my style. You never know what you're gonna get when the Jedi speaks. I'll just show you a picture that I found today. Of me and my sister that was 1 year older than me. That I told you hated me since birth. And it's us as children. But it's so interesting to look back on your young self. I was the cutest thing, y'all. I was the cutest thing, man. I was. And I would see it in third. I'm like, damn, that's a cute little kid right there, man. That little dude. All right. You feel me? I can put my fingers on it. Where is it? HIJKL. Bingo. Got it. I was the cutest thing. Wow. SubhanAllah. Present. We need a window. So we'll do this and share. Thereon is I hope it's coming up clear for y'all, because this tablet is really betraying me and taking me through things that I can't even define. Oh, let me take this comment off. Yeah, it shows up clearer on here. I'm not able to expand. What's going on? I don't understand. Oh, there it goes. Expand. It's so weird to look back at your young self. Like, that's me, y'all. That's me. And my sister, she never liked me. She never liked me. Wow. Anyway. Anjane, that was smart of Ghana. Otherwise, in a decade, Ghanaians would look very differently. And you know, when I've seen gay people in Africa, you know, in reports and things like that, they're clearly trying to imitate gay people they've seen in American media. They don't even look right, dude. Like, I don't even mean it as a shady way. It's just like, you just don't look right. You don't even look right. You don't even look right. You don't even look right. Like, you don't even look right. I don't know any other way to say it. Like, you don't even look right. You don't even look right. You go on to say the black man was saying we had to get rid of. Oh yeah. That one was low, and I think I told you guys this is low. Turn everything up. I can't get any more volume. Yeah, sometimes clips are really low, and only have so much volume I can send out, and once I've maximized that, then I can't do anything. But yeah, that one was low. That was the brother that was saying exterminate they white ass. Son, oh my God, you so cute and cute, big sis. Yeah, you know. And I saw that picture and I was just thinking just how much she just never liked me, you know. And it's funny because in 1995, my father said to me, one of our discussions we were having, and he was saying, well, because her name was Bahira. And he goes, I thought you and Bahira was the closest one. I go, Dad, no, it's me and Jamila. Like, you don't even know, you know. But you would have thought she and I would have been the closest because of the original, of all the children from my mother. She and I were the last two. I'm the last one. She was 1 year before me, you know. We were the last two at home until my half-sister came along, which was the product of my stepmother and my father. And so anyone looking at it would think, well, those two are probably the closest, but we were so not, you know. Like, I realized even thinking about her today, like, I don't know what she was passionate about. I don't know what. Anything, you know, what mattered to her, what she thought about love, you know, yeah, but none of it's my fault, you know. I have Allah as my witness. Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. You know, so I don't have to have no regret or second guessing, you know. That's why I always tell you, do everything so that when it's over, you don't got no regret. No second guessing, you know, you don't have to carry no burdens. Righteous, aw, little Jedi, damn, you look like my 6-year-old son. Oh! And I don't even know how old I was in that picture. I might have been 6. You know. I remember people telling me I was cute, but I didn't know that. People just said that. So I didn't think anything of it, you know. Man, I was a cute little kid, man. I was. SubhanAllah. Son, where is your sister now? No, she's passed away. She died allegedly of COVID. So, you know, and she was the type that would have gone and gotten the vaccine, you know. She was saved, filled, sanctified, baptized, anointed, and called, and you know, heavily influenced by the church and all that stuff. And I could just see her being that one, you know. Yeah, when I knew anything, my sister in New York called me to tell me she was on a ventilator, which I was pissed at her for calling me to tell me that, because she knows when I close doors, I don't need to know anything else about you. And I've accepted that I'm going to die, or you're going to die maybe in this process. And so I'm cool with that. So don't call me. Why would you disrespect me to call me to tell me this? Why are you telling me this? Because even years before, when this sister's husband died, me and my nephew were on Skype, and she dipped onto camera real quick. I just wanted to come. I didn't know if you want to know if Bahira's husband died. I was like, why are you telling me that? Why are you interrupting our Skype to tell me this? Why are you telling me that? Why would I care? Why would I care? Like, that's what made me mad, that you're disrespecting and you didn't hear me and you don't see me. And that's the worst thing you can ever do, is give me the impression you don't hear me or see me, because I value me. I'm special to me. And when I allow you the privilege of my presence or my time or my anything, You need to appreciate that. And when you don't, then I don't like that. You see, that's disrespectful. So I didn't care. So get off camera and let Nasir get back on camera and we'll continue our conversation. Thank you. Like I was over it. You know, I do hate for her that she had such a tortured existence, you know. I understand she went through some level of homelessness before she passed, and you know, but she was the self-appointed black sheep. You know, it was of her own doing. Allah is my witness. That's the eternal comfort I'm gonna have, because I know that my Maker knows what I did. He knows the words I've said. He knows the effort I made. So I don't have nothing to deal with at all. I'm good. Alhamdulillah, you know, and I did everything to make every overture to her and to let her know that whatever the other siblings were dealing with, I love you, I'm here for you, I'm interested in you, and all of that. You know, if that wasn't good enough, then I don't know what else to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know what to tell you. Did I finish your comments, you guys? But she was in California though, son. Just she lived up north in Northern California, which is like 6 hours. Andrea, Jedi. Wasn't he cute though? Righteous. That's because you took her baby status away when you were born. But we were only a year apart. We were like, people a lot of times thought we were twins when we were little, you know, and sometimes they dressed us alike and stuff. And some of it was her own, or all of it was her own making, because, you know, even when we would be either sent to live with my grandmother or when we just straight out live with my grandmother, whatever, she was always the one that was rebellious, you know. I was always an obedient kid. I was a good kid. I was the Christ child. Damn it. I was. Ask any of my adults who raised me. They'll tell you, he didn't give us no problems. He just didn't. Because I never had a mischievous bone about me. I'm not vindictive. You got to do something to me. I'm highly vengeful. Like, I plot on your shit when you come against me. Like, to a fault. But I'm not vindictive. I'm not dishonest. I don't harbor jealousy. I'm not conniving unless you come against me. I don't do nothing wrong. I just didn't do nothing wrong. Well, I'm a grown-ass man sitting up here saying it now. I can tell you, I ain't do nothing wrong. I did not do anything wrong. So, how you respond to adults is how you get responded to. So, when we stay with my grandmother, if she say you could go outside, but you got to be at this time, I come in. You still outside. Then you want to come in, bitch, said I'm being treated better. No, bitch, I came in on time. You didn't. You see, when we used to run away from home and things like that, she was running away from home for a different reason than me. I was running away from home because I was a fucking honor roll student. And I wanted to finish school. I already had in my mind, you're going to have to be able to survive and get yourself a job. You have to be able to support yourself. You must do this. That was on my mind. She was running away so she could wear tight clothes and smoke cigarettes and hang with her little white girlfriends and shit. We just had different things that were priority for us, you know. And you know, she was immensely talented. She could. I'm not saying it because she's related to me, y'all. Because y'all know, I don't care if I know you, if you're related to me, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you the truth about whatever it is. Don't ever ask me if you're fat, because if you're fat, I'll say, yes, you are fat. You feel me? But her voice was on the level of Celine, Whitney, I'm not even getting Mariah, because Mariah can't sing no more and hasn't been able to sing for a very long time. And she knows that's the truth. But my sister had that voice, y'all. When somebody sings a cappella and it feels like they don't need music, like you feel music from their voice, her range, her control, she was unbelievable, man. My God, she was unbelievable. And she just threw it all away singing in the damn church. I go, why don't you go get a career? Here I am pursuing entertainment and fame and all of it. And here she had something that was evident, you know. And I don't want to sing secular. What if just anything if I liked it, she hated it. So if I hated her gospel music, maybe I should have said that. I fucking hate that you sing gospel. No, because she likes whatever I hate. So she said, I love you singing gospel. Please don't sing anything else. And then maybe she would have been a Grammy Award winning artist. Son, so sad about your sis. She must have been going through a lot, Jedi. Well, her entire life. I don't know what she was going through because we came up in the same house. And me and her was the last two. We was at home the longest. And, you know, so, you know, I don't know. But I always listen to the universe. And so even after my sister disrespected me and called me to tell me that she had passed, I took a couple days and then I called her, got the number to the hospital. I called and my sister was like, but when you call, they don't put anybody through because she can't answer the phone or whatever. Blah. Anyways, I call, the heavens opened up. I call, but I know how to use my oratory and my presence. And so this white bitch, I was like, yes, you know, I'm calling for my sister, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm on rounds right now, but if you give me a second, give me your number and then I'll go in and I can call you and put it on speakerphone and let you know. Because they theorize that she probably could still hear people even though she was on a ventilator. And so the white bitch held the phone and, you know, I said some Arabic Islamic prayers for her and, you know, some other things that I'll just keep private. But, you know, my heart is always open. It's natural to me. But, yeah, she just, I don't really know. I feel like I never knew her really, you know. And there was years that we shared the same room, you know. And I just still feel like I don't know her. I never knew her. Oh. Original Jewess. Shout out to you. I don't know if I seen you tonight, Jewess. Forgive me. You say, just curious, how do you get to a point of not being affected by the passing of a sibling or family member, knowing y'all would never mend fences? It doesn't matter that it's family. It's any human being. That's not me. I'm interested in what is right in my life, in my journey, in my arc, in this time of existence. And it's always been very easy for me, Jewess. If people don't act right, I just don't have time for you. I just don't have time for you. I've just always been able to just dismiss people from my life in that way, you know. But there's a process, because once I have concluded now that you have no value to my life at all, that there is not a two-way communication of feeling and words and love and relationship and all that stuff, then I just have to let you go. Because why am I going to keep going back to a door that's welded shut? Why am I going back to that door? Why am I going back? Why? You know? So I have to do inventory, make sure I did everything, and then I close the door and I'm done. And then I forget all about you. Done. It's very easy. But it's also about not being brainwashed. You know, you come up hearing that you're supposed to keep going back to your source of pain, or your source that ignores you, or they don't give a fuck about you. You're supposed to keep going. I never was brainwashed by that. I follow my heart in life. I've gotten to 57 years on this earth, and my heart has led me to right this moment sitting in front of you. My soul, my being, who I am as a man, all of that sits in front of you right now. So it's not some wizard act, and you don't have to be special. You just have to be in the right frame of mind. But you got to be committed to what's right. You know, and you can't be into a bunch of drama and a glutton for punishment and, you know, abuse and things like that. You got to keep it 100. Everybody talk about keeping it 100. I keep it 100 in my life. I just do. Like, that's what it is. It's 100. Keep it 100. Period. Makes life so much easier, you know. So when they pass, part of the process is you already know when you close the door, they could die. I could die. If I die, they ain't gonna give a fuck no way. Because I'm living and they ain't trying to holler at me. They're not checking for me. So they don't know if I'm alive or dead. So that checks. So, and I agree. We're done. So I don't need to know that you died, because you've already been dead to me already. You're already dead to me. You're already dead to me. You're already dead to me, you know? And that's fine, you know? One year in Maryland, my oldest sister, because I hadn't spoken to my brother for 6 years, and was not going to speak to him. I already articulated to him what I need from this relationship, as you my older brother and I'm your little brother. This is what I need. And this is what I bring. This is what I need. And so when you don't acknowledge that, then I have to be over you. So I'd literally even forgotten his phone number. So my sister, my older sister, bitch don't travel nowhere. How's the bitch traveling to Maryland? Not understanding. But there she is. She travels to Maryland. She's at my brother's house. I didn't live that far from him at the time. And she's calling. And she's like, guess where I'm at? This is my ghetto sister too, y'all. That keeps, like, that keeps empty perfume bottles in the bottom of her purse just in case she had to swing on. She will fight in a heartbeat. All you gotta do is go sick 'em and she gonna get your ass. But she's also my sister that's most like me, as far as like that heart of the lion. Like, we're the most like my mother, because everybody, all my siblings told me that my mother was a no nonsense woman. She didn't take no shit and she didn't hold her tongue. And so maybe that's where I get it from her. But you know, anyways, but guess where I'm at? I'm like, where are you at? She's like, I'm in Maryland. I'm like, what? Like, and she's the one that goes MIA for years. You don't know where she at, what name she might be using, all that. So I'm like, how is this bitch in Maryland? But she's at my brother's house. She's like, Fatine told me y'all haven't spoken, this, that, that. I was like, don't try to force some reunion, because now that's pissing me off. Again, I'm a man of conviction. You're my family. You should honor that. You know what? Our little brother's a man of conviction. He means what he says. Don't bring that to him. That's respect. That should come naturally. Listen, don't take this to my older sister. She's ex. I would do that. I would represent you. I'm your brother. I know you. I should represent you. But they don't. That pisses me off. So don't try and force some reunion that's not going to happen. Because if he wanted to call me, he could have called me before you came. Now, I'm supposed to act like I'm glad to talk to him because you're going to hand him the phone, and now he's going to go only because you handed him to me. That doesn't work. Anything that comes to me in my life, it must come to me on its own. You understand? From people to money to anything, it must come. Love, it must come to me. It must come to me because then I know it's real. You see? I know it's real. You came of your own volition. That means something to me. You see? So I'm not talking to him. I'm not. But as I'm saying that, she's already handed him the phone. Man, I said, Fatine, there's nothing you can say to me. I've forgotten your phone number even, literally. Like I'm over it. Hand the phone back to she was going by the name Fox then. Go hand the phone back to Fox. I'm over it. Like, what can you say to me? You know where I live. You have my phone number. I'm your youngest sibling. Like, fuck all y'all, man. You know? Like, I'm not doing it. I don't need to do that. I don't need to. But the icing on the cake is, if you were really injured by that and I just meant so much to you, then when I close the door on you, you would be fighting like hell to knock it down and say, please, and you would acknowledge, or at least be asking questions. What didn't I understand about you that has made you just completely don't want to have shit to do with me now? Or you would acknowledge, listen, I know I did X, Y, and Z. Could you please accept me now? Like, you my brother, I'm trying to woo. Because that's what I would do. If I know I haven't wronged somebody, I will stalk you. Why haven't we talked? What's going on? What is there a problem? Like, I mean, you know, that's natural. And so when they don't, that's consciousness of guilt, but it's also further guilt because that means you're right. They didn't give a fuck. And you were right to close this door and stop wasting your wing on them. You know, don't waste time, everybody. Don't do it. Don't do it. And just because people have your same bloodline does not make them family. That just makes them relatives, as somebody said recently. Ray Supreme. Hey Jedi, recently a guy that used to run with a clique I was in turned Muslim. And he said it changed his life. The brother's name is Tay Mack. If you want to check out the interview. Where? Is there more? Is that a channel? Is that what? I'll just make a note. And you go and you say the brother is so well spoken. And so what you waiting on, Ray, to become Muslim? And did he become Muslim or did he join the Nation of Islam? Because there is the difference. Original US. I have an issue with one of my sisters not reciprocating. And because I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do too, she takes advantage. Not saying I'm perfect, but willing to try to work on the relationship. I wear my heart on my sleeve too, and that's another thing. They always think they could take advantage of me, and they also look for that soft spot from me. Because I'm the one they can count on. He will do what's right. Let's use that, you see, until I don't allow you to use it. You understand? Like, nah, I'm not allowing it. I'm not allowing it. I'm not. Like, no, but they depend on that. Even back in the 1980s, I was in a really bad car accident. I was a passenger. And I got a little settlement from it. Well, the first thing on my mind is I would automatically give my siblings something and share it with my family. That was as natural to me as brushing my teeth or picking my nose or scratching an itch. It was that natural to me. It was never even a question. I need you to really hear that. It wasn't even it wasn't even a consideration. Like, the only time it became anything was because at that time, two of my sisters, they were big into bingo. And I'm not giving you a bitch ass money to go to bingo. I'm just not doing it. And I would have given them more, but I only ended these two sisters. I only gave them $500 each because, and that was too much really, considering they're going to bingo. But I just thought, and then I would have done more for my grandmother, just giving her outright money, but they will go to her. So I can't do that. Grandma, know you'll give it to them. I can't. But anything you need, I got you. Anything you want, I got you. And they're looking to go to her, you see. But I'm just trying to say they were looking for, yeah, he will give us something. He will. But that wouldn't have been the other way around had they got a settlement. You see. I mean, it's such a thing, man. It's just, I know about wearing the heart on sleeve though, US. Trust and believe. Kai, my brother, I was just talking about you last night in the stream. Alhamdulillah. What's up, King? You say camel milk already working miraculous difference within. A big ass bowl of cereal in my Wakanda nightly ritual is my Wakanda nightly ritual. This year I will bring forth the body I've lived in, but always longed for. I will bring forth the body I've lived in, but always longed for, inshallah. Well, you on your way, man. I already told you. Like, I feel you. You probably won't have the career that I have. You feel me? I'm with all the big houses. I'm with Armani. I'm with Versace. I'm with Marc Jacobs. I'm with Dolce & Gabbana. I'm with all these houses. I don't know if you'll get there, but alas, you're worthy of a career. Man, wow, subhanAllah. I'm glad you could make it, Kai. Alhamdulillah. How's Junior, man? How's little man? As I tell me, and Ray, you also tell me what I was asking you about this brother you were saying accepted Islam, because I've got a couple more things that I need to present to you guys that I have staged, and then I want to side swipe over to see if I can pull up this statement by Nana Adodanko Kufa-Addo that we just discussed. Ray Supreme, you say the interview is on something I can't say, but I can write. Is that an I? PPHILMS. And they talk about taking his shahada. Oh, okay, then maybe he is Orthodox Muslim, which means he's actually a Muslim, alhamdulillah. Excuse me. We're close. What is the fucking LBG or LGB? What the fuck, man? LBG? I don't give a fuck. I don't fucking know. I'd like to buy a vowel. Shit. He was very like, you know, the other thing I want to say right now about this in Africa, you guys, is because I've said to you, you know, Muslim men are very intimate. Like, we're just intimate. There's not this standoff like, ooh, don't touch, don't do, don't, ooh. I'm used to that. But now Africans are intimate. So when I was in Senegal and when I was in Gambia, you know, you can't have that because that would ruin the intimacy. Like when your brother embraces you or you're sitting next to your brother, you might be sitting on him or whatever. Everybody knows that's nothing. It's nothing. So if you introduce this into the society, then we would have what we have here, where you can't really hug your brother. Ooh, this could look, you see, so it's just, no, it won't work, you know. I remember one day when I was in Gambia, and I was about to say I was at home. Well, I was home. I was at home at my brother Samba's, and our brother Dauda had come over, and we had had a great conversation, and Dauda, I think, was about to go, is this it? Is this Nana? And he goes, Abdullah, I love you, man. I love you, brother. I go, Dauda, I love you too, brother. And we hugged. You know, it was beautiful. It just was beautiful, you know, but my heart sits there. That's where my heart is. You know, that's the soul that I am. So it was like nothing for me. But I'm saying I can see in a society like Africa, like what I see in most African countries, quite frankly, they don't have to be Islamic countries. It could ruin the fabric, you know. Yeah, it would be a disruption in a way that I can't even, it would take me some time to put the words together, you know. I can't find it, y'all. He made this strong speech to the people. It was a guarantee, like, trust me, as long as I'm president, there's not gonna be no LBGT bullshit in this bitch. Understand that. He goes, that you can be assured. That you can be assured. And they clapped for another 10 minutes. That you can be assured. I feel like, I don't know what phrase he kept saying. Something like that. Like, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening, you know? And, but ultimately, we know that obviously is this it? No. We know that there are gay people in Africa. We know that. But that echoes what we have always been here as Africans. We know there's gay people in our community. But it was never like, you're going to get something special. We're going to highlight you. Just keep that shit to yourself. Everybody know. Shut it up. You see? And that's how it pretty much has been for Africa. But now it started with Angola, I think, when you had these Anglican Christians going there. And then there was this guy that was going viral when I first started doing YouTube. He is the head of an Anglican church, and he had some videos he was showing on his laptop. He goes, you see, they eat the poop. They eat the poop. You know, and he just, I guess he was showing some pornos or something. Something, I don't know what was on that laptop. But, but you know, and then suddenly now they were printing gay people's names in the newspaper. They go to your house and fucking pull you out. They print your name in the paper, your picture. If you've been accused of homosexuality, they put tires around you, burn you in the street. I mean, it's not, it is true jihad. Okay, I quit. I can't find it. Move to something else, Jedi. I'll make a note of it for our next sitting for that clip. For Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo. His Excellency, Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo. We're going to move to this clip. I want to try and get all my clips in today, man. It's other words than when we're done, I go, I forgot this clip. So we're going to get to this one. You'll remember, I brought you this interview, this portion of this interview they lead into the news story with. I brought you this. And so this guy was fired, thank you please, from MSNBC because at the beginning of this genocide, it was all about Israel and they have the right to defend themselves, and it's just all about Israel. It's all about Israel. And so this is now goes to the propaganda factor of it all. And what says now MSNBC to this reporter now that all the tide is turned? It's probably about 5 people on earth right now that give a fuck about Israel. And they live in Israel. Do you understand? So let us see this. Because he was then fired from MSNBC, but nothing was ever really given. There's been speculation, and I've seen speculative videos, but I'd like to see what their claim is going to be. I've not seen this. I just saw its title. I know its subject matter. so I know what I expect, but we'll see what it's going to say. It's not a long piece at all. Let's offer this now for your viewing pleasure and scrutiny, as it were.
I don't have to say what you asked me to say.
Wait.
We are nearly 6 weeks into this bombing campaign and ground invasion. The Gaza Health Ministry says Israel has killed more than 11,000 people in Gaza, including a record number of children. Let me finish my question.
No, but you can't say that. No, but you said you have to say the Hamas controlled Ministry of Health in Gaza.
I don't have to say what you asked me to say.
The man you just heard from, the host of that show, is Mehdi Hasan, and just this morning, it was announced by MSNBC that his show will be canceled. The Mehdi Hasan show will no longer air over the weekends. Now, the network is announcing a major weekend overhaul for the network. So let's get into those details. Now, MSNBC says that they will be debuting a new ensemble program that will air weekend mornings. The changes will take effect on January 13th, and this will alter almost every hour of their weekend programming, where MSNBC has in fact struggled to draw the rating.
No wonder Steve Garvey wants to block Biden and Pelosi's progressive agenda and supports building Trump's border wall. Garvey stands for Trump.
Both times he was the best person for the job. I voted for him twice.
Steve Garvey is too conservative for California.
When a fire starts, every moment matters. How quickly can you respond?
Hey folks, my name is Chris, and this is my furry friend Lucky. This isn't for the faint of heart. Don't look, Lucky. 25-year firefighter veteran.
That they need to draw for years. Now, the new show, The Weekend, is billed as a politics and Washington-focused program. It will be hosted from Washington, D.C. by MSNBC anchors Alicia Menendez, Simone Sanders Townsend, and Michael Steele, who used to be the head of the Republican National Committee, by the way, on Saturdays and Sundays from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern time. Now, both Sanders Townsend and Menendez will be leaving their weekend programs. Like whatever they're hosting right now, that's gonna end so they can do this new show with the ensemble crew. Now, other shifts include Jonathan Capehart's show to 6 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday and Sunday. Who cares? Honestly, I don't care. I don't even know who these hosts are. No one watches these people. The heart of this story is, why did they do away with Mehdi Hasan? Is it because he is aggressive in the way that he balances the ongoing war in Gaza? And when I say balances, I mean, for the most part in American corporate media, it's pretty one-sided on behalf of the Israeli government. But Mehdi Hasan is much more balanced and actually provides the perspective of Palestinians, especially in this war, dealing with the bombardments, dealing with the, block in humanitarian aid and fuel getting into the Gaza Strip. And so there are a lot of people out there speculating that he was let go for those reasons. But I actually, in this particular case, disagree with them, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Cenk.
Yeah, I think there are three different issues. One is the fact that he was aggressively defending Palestinians, and we'll get into that. And it might be the most minor of the three. It might be. We'll talk about it. The second is that he was a progressive, and he was pretty much the only progressive on cable news at all. And so I thought, tick, 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 tick. And but the third reason I think is the one that I think is the most relevant, and the reason that they made the decision, which is he aggressively challenged the guests. And on cable news, they hate that because they're worried about losing access to guests. And in fact, now some of you might remember, I had a similar situation at MSNBC, and now in my case, I did not take the job. Mehdi agreed to continue as a contributor. When they offered me a weekend job, I said no, thank you. And then the head of MSNBC at the time, Phil Griffin, when talking to the New York Times, I don't know why he admitted this, but he admitted Cenk was causing us trouble in getting guests for the network because he was so tough on the guests that he was interviewing.
I mean, people really do like mediocre, lukewarm interviews where there's really no genuine exchange of ideas. So I think they were right to do so, Cenk. I think they were right to do so.
But it's important that you understand that, both so that you understand the full picture of why Mehdi Hassan was, at least his show was canceled. And because it isn't so much about Mehdi Hassan as it is about cable news overall and television overall. That's a window into how they make decisions. And that's why, if you've ever wondered, why is everybody on TV so vanilla? Like Ryan's going non-news, non-political, like Ryan Seacrest, most vanilla guy you've ever seen in your life. Like you go down the list, they're all vanilla. Anderson Cooper, etc. Wolf Blitzer, robots, fake, plastic. This is exactly and sometimes they have good moments. And then you'll be like, hey, Anderson Cooper cried during Hurricane Katrina. He was human for a second. And then people are like, wow, oh my God, humanity, right?
But Anderson was standing out in waist deep water in Prada. So let the record show.
The reason they don't want the humanity and they want fake plastic robots is because if you show emotion or you actually aggressively challenge the powerful, that is going to cause a lot of problems.
You know, later in the show today, we're going to talk about the whole Elon Musk, X, advertiser debacle that just keeps playing out over and over again.
We don't need all this.
But I think that the two stories are actually connected, right? Because it is definitely true that advertisers want advertisement-friendly programming, and that typically means super boring, nothing controversial, no passion. And
isn't it ironic that advertisers are dictating? Bitch, I'm out here producing content. I'm not monetized, so fuck that. But for everyone who is and all the other bullshit, if we don't exist, there's nothing for you to advertise on. And we the motherfuckers gotta see your bitch ass dumb fucked up ads anyway. How you gonna decide what's good? Think about that. They're sitting in some corporate office, they don't do any content, they don't fucking do anything to advertise themselves. How are you the one deciding what is, fuck these people, man.
Let's also keep it real. Media companies are owned by massive corporate conglomerates.
Right.
And so when the corporations own the media, you're not gonna get hard-hitting, muckraking journalists or journalism. And so look, let's be completely open, honest, and balanced with the story, because the fact of the matter is, you look at Mehdi Hassan's ratings over the weekends when his show would air. Not great ratings, right? But let's also be honest and fair in that none of the shows did well ratings-wise.
Yep.
The other thing to keep in mind is, I know that there are a lot of people speculating that they let him go because of his views on this ongoing war in Gaza, that they want to silence Muslim.
I don't do Congress the way most people do. I'm the only Democrat in this race who has never, taken
hosts on this network, but that's not true. Two people familiar with the move, which MSNBC privately announced to staff Thursday morning, told Semaphore that Hassan will become an on-camera analyst and fill-in host. The network plans to expand host Ayman Moyeldin, his weekend programming to 2 hours to replace Hassan's show. So his show is gonna go from 1 hour to 2 hours over the weekend. And that will take place during the time that Mehdi Hassan's show would usually air. If you're unfamiliar with this host, to be quite frank, I was unfamiliar with him. He is an Egyptian-born political commentator who is also critical of Israel's treatment of Palestinians. So he will now have a total broadcast time of 4 hours over the course of the weekend rather than just 2 hours.
Yeah, so I think the anti-Muslim thing is mixed. So on the one hand, when the war broke out between Israel and Gaza, it's not really a war. I mean, it's just Hamas did a terrible terrorist attack and then Israel obliterated Gaza. Gaza has no ability to conduct a war. Anyways, when that happened, all of a sudden the three Muslim hosts on MSNBC, including Ali Velshi, Mehdi Hassan, and Moyeldin, were nowhere to be found. And so people were like, oh, that's kind of curious. Now, on the other hand, you have to give MSNBC credit for having three Muslim hosts. So.
Okay, and that's fine. But again, that leads right into what I want to say. And one of the charges I've been making, in fact, even what I titled part of my stream last night, this is about race, everybody. They hate the fuck out of the Palestinians. They tried to put up this lie that, you know, it was because they were Jewish, which they're not fucking Jews. And that crumbled and went to a puff of dust in their face. So they moved to Hamas, focusing more on Hamas and all this, and they still try to push a little bit that they hate us because we're Jews and all this bullshit. But people are seeing through that now. You were just killing these people because you have always wanted the entire fucking land since you brought your white, stinking, big nose asses there. And the sight of these people makes you sick. You don't even see them as human when you're exactly the ones that are not human. So not understanding. But, you know, sadly, there hasn't been a mass extermination of white people anywhere in history. And we're not going to count that little fucking Holocaust that they claim, you see. Because we don't know 6 million is real. And I don't believe that. And not only that, I brought you documents and evidence that there were, I forget what the number was now, a large number of Afro-German Jews, so-called, that were part of this alleged Holocaust that nobody talks about. And we never see their faces. All we see is these fucking wrinkled-ass white people when they show these alleged historical pictures from this alleged event. It's been racist from the beginning, you know. White people are racist, and we just have to understand and accept that. You know, that's the reality. And the reason why there's even such a thing as racism is because their white asses exist. You remove them from the equation, never existed in the history of fucking existence, and you have a different humanity all across the fucking earth. All across the earth. A different understanding of what it is to be a human, what it is to exist, what is humanity, what is anything. You know, their devilish presence has infected and poisoned and rotted every corner of human existence, human morality, human psychology, you know, spirituality, you name it. This is the problem on the earth, is these people. Name anything, and I'll show you why their existence fucked that up. Name anything. Just name anything. Name it. Name it. Name it. Name anything. Name anything. Ray. I read that. Jewess. It's crazy the people know that you're going to be the first to initiate contact. They waiting on you. You see? Don't do it. Thank you, San. I don't know those fucking letters. I don't need to. I needed it for that search. But other than that, I don't give a fuck. It's an alphabet, goddammit. And they've taken all the letters. Melanin 100. Shout out to you. Shalom, King. Sorry I'm late. Shalom to all my black kings and queens. Yeah, you know, I'm like, you're not that late, Melanin, but you late tonight. We about to put the seats in the upright position. You feel me? I feel like they about to take the trays down the aisle and stuff. You feel me? Especially Keisha, she ready. You feel me? Keisha ready. That's San to Melanin, and Melanin responding back. What else? Okay. Did we look at this one? No, I think this one I can't show. One of these had a warning at the beginning. This ain't it. Okay, we can show this one. Yeah, I don't know how much of this we need. This is a longer clip. I don't know if we really need all this. Hold up, y'all.
So what does that mean for negotiations, and how serious is Netanyahu about continued diplomatic efforts? This is Inside Story.
We'll just see a little bit of this just to get the sauce of it.
Hello there, and welcome to the program. I'm Jonah Hull. More than 30,000 Palestinians killed, tens of thousands more injured, warnings of attack.
All right, let's at least bring you in for this for now, because I need to go into my file to see is there something else that I intended that I may not be cognizant of at the moment. So let's bring you in, see some portion of this.
Calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza are growing louder, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains defiant, insisting his military won't back down until Hamas is destroyed. So what does that mean for negotiations, and how serious is Netanyahu about continued diplomatic efforts? This is Inside Story. Hello there, and welcome to the programme. I'm Jonah Hull. More than 30,000 Palestinians killed, tens of thousands more injured, warnings of a famine, and a healthcare system that the UN says is on its knees. Yet the bombs keep falling on Gaza. Nearly 5 months since the start of Israel's devastating war, there's no let-up in its daily attacks. On Friday, Hamas announced that some of the captives held in Gaza had been killed in Israeli strikes. Qatar, the US and Egypt have been mediating talks for a ceasefire, but there are fears the constant bombardment could threaten those discussions. And Israel's killing of more than 100 Palestinians as they scrambled to collect food aid on Thursday is further threatening to inflame the region. But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists his military offensive will go on until his goals are achieved. We've plenty to discuss with our guests, but first, this report from Kulsum Sharif.
A massacre at a time of talks for a ceasefire. Optimism about negotiations for a possible truce in Gaza interrupted by the killing of more than 100 Palestinians on Thursday as they waited to collect food. Many of the victims were taken to Gaza City's barely functioning Al-Shifa hospital. A UN team that met some of the victims says many of those they saw had suffered gunshot wounds.
This hospital is treating more than 200 people that were injured yesterday. We have seen people with gunshot wounds, we have seen amputees, and we have seen children as young as 12 that were injured yesterday.
Aid groups say Thursday's killings undermine the immediate need for a ceasefire as food and supplies can enter Gaza. 5 months of Israel's war has led to a humanitarian catastrophe. A majority of Palestinians are displaced and starving.
There was a 10th child officially registered in a hospital as having starved to death. A very sad threshold, similar sad as the 30,000 deaths we reached all over Gaza. And similar like those, these are official records. The unofficial numbers can unfortunately be expected to be higher.
Israel's relentless strikes are raising questions about whether Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is even interested in a deal as his negotiators work to find an agreement.
The negotiations for a ceasefire, the sticking point there has always been the end game. Israel has been adamant that going to effectively destroy Gaza. It doesn't use those words, but we see what they're doing on the ground. We hear the rhetoric coming out of Israeli political circles. They want to make life unlivable. They're trying to ethnically cleanse Gaza as part of their so-called Greater Israel plan. As long as that remains their intent, there's just not a lot of incentive for Hamas to agree to a deal.
Israel's bombing campaign is also costing it the lives of captives held in Gaza. The military wing of Hamas Qassam Brigade says Israeli airstrikes killed 7 captives being held in the Strip. The group blames Israeli attacks for the death of more than 70 of the 130 estimated captives still held in Gaza. Their families have been demanding the Israeli government do more to help them. Prime Minister Netanyahu has warned a looming assault in Rafah is inevitable after forcing more than 1 million Palestinians to shelter there, ensuring there will be even more suffering and destruction for Gaza. Kulsum Sharif, Al Jazeera, for Inside Story.
Well, let's bring in our guests now. In Tel Aviv, Yossi Beilin, former Israeli Minister of Justice who initiated negotiations at the Oslo Peace Accords. Here in Doha,
Where am I at? Was there anything you guys wanted me to address or deal with? We're doing better on time than we did last night. And I will say also, you guys, the video, that recorded video that I released earlier today, that performance video where I'm doing where I'm doing Black Cat, Janet Jackson's Black Cat. You know, as I find stuff, because like I say, they now have, you know, the upload process to YouTube. Now they have a thing where you can know if something is a problem as you're uploading the bitch. They have a thing that scans it and does a check. So before you click to publish it, you could know this is a problem, you can't. And so I just decided to try it and see if it was okay. And when it said it found no problems, then I was like, okay, cool, you know. As I find stuff that I can share, you know, then I can. There's a lot of stuff that I'm just not able to share, you know, because all these dumb copyright laws when it comes to, you know, music and stuff like that, you know, so there's just a lot of stuff I can't share. But what I can, I will, and I'll try, you know. And that was just the latest installment. The backstory on that is that the year before, I don't know exactly what year that is, but the year before that, this lady who had been part of this show, because I was just one of at least a dozen acts that was on that concert, and it was I think it was 2 weeks of concerts or something like that, but you know, on the weekends. And one of my sisters had been out at this club And this lady and her husband were going around asking people if they knew anybody that was a choreographer. And my sister Linda was there, and she said, yeah, my brother's a choreographer. She gave them my number. They called me and said, yeah, you know, your sister gave me your phone number, said you're a choreographer. I go, yeah, I'm a choreographer. Her name was Roz. And she had been part of this production the year before. So she had her music, but she needed, you know, she needed everything. And good thing she got me, because as I've said to you guys, choreographers, we don't just do your dance moves. We give you your entire performance, you know, from, you know, wardrobe, staging, lighting. If it's televised, we're going to work with the director of photography to call to what shots need to be and where, you know. Anyway, she needed everything because she was very, 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 very shy. I just thought, I don't know if I can get anything out of her, you know. But usually I sit down and we talk about, even not just one-on-one, but even when I was teaching dance class, or certainly if I'm getting ready for a show and I've got a team of dancers, we sit down and we talk about the dance, talk about the performance. What is it? Because I need you to be in the attitude and the whole frame of mind of this entire presentation. We're putting across an entire thing. So we got to talk about it. So when we would sit down to talk about, like, what are you trying to do? You know. Anyway, she was very shy, and so first it was about giving her a stage persona. Like, you can still be Roz, but here's who you need to be on stage, you know. And you know, then it was working with her with the choreography, and then getting her to be able to sing and dance. When I first met with her and her husband, I took a stack of my performances and we sat and watched so she could see what I've done, and also so she could see that what I'm going to be asking of her I can do, so therefore you can do it too, and I want it. And the big thing was singing and dancing at the same time, you know. And then I would jog her around the block, sing the song, sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it, sing it, until that natural breathing comes in. People don't realize it will come, it kicks in, it does. Your body knows, I gotta breathe. And you just sing. You're gonna have it. It'll be there. It'll be there. It'll be there, you know. I had to learn how to teach it because it comes naturally for me, you know. Like, in fact, the performance I'm telling you about that I uploaded, there at one point when I'm on the ground and when I'm saying Black Cat, you know, I don't understand, I'm purposely sounding out of breath. I'm not out of breath, but an audience loves when you seem like you're out of breath, but you're still killing it. Love that. People love that. So I get, Black Cat, you know, you don't understand. I was purposely exaggerating that. Then, don't understand. Anyway, so, to digress, because I lost what I'm saying as I'm saying it, but run her around the block, have her sing the song. Now I got to give her persona. So I give her persona because we've talked about what the songs that she's singing, what they mean. What do they mean to you? And now, how are we going to now put this over to the audience and all of that, etc., etc. I let her handle her own wardrobe. I just didn't want anything that didn't look like it didn't go with the choreography, you know. And she surprised me. So opening night, I had tickets. It was me and my fiance at the time, and we went. And no, it was my girlfriend. Anyways, we went, and when she came out to do her second song, which was the number I worked with her on, she had really bought into it. Because in her first song, she was very like, you know, the songstress. She could sing. She was just the songstress and doing that. I gave her some stuff for that, but I wanted that to be more organic. I didn't have to give her too much with that. Just like define the song and sing from that place. Tell the story of the song, you know. And then I would sit and observe what is your natural movement based on what you're feeling from the song, etc., etc. So that was easy. It was just the choreographed piece, the up-tempo song that she did. And so when she came out, she goes, at first, she goes, now I'm here to rearrange the furniture. I was like, I didn't teach her that. Anyway, she murdered. And one of the other things I instructed her to do was at rehearsals, don't do this choreography or any of this performance at rehearsals, because I don't want any of your colleagues who are performing with you or anybody that's on the show in general or the producer of the show. I want everybody to be wowed by this. So she has the full shock value of everybody in the room. The only people that know is me and her, and that's it. So she did that. And so she murdered. And then the director of the show came up to me after it was over. But before it was over, mind you, there was this chick that got up there and did Whitney Houston's I'm Your Baby Tonight. And I hadn't even heard Whitney do that song live yet. And she murdered it. Especially when you got to the, looks like I'm fatal, it's all on the table, and baby, you hold the card, looks like she was murdering. And she could sing, oh my God. Anyways, her name was Kim Sears. She's a Latina chick. She's who you see over on the mic, backing me up. She did that, but I also learned that she used to be Snow White at Disneyland. And she did some other songs too, but the Whitney Houston song just sold it for me. So when the director came up to me and said, you know, are you the one that worked with Roz? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you know, whatever you want to do, you can just have full run, you know, but we'd love for you to be involved with the show next year. I go, okay. So I said, I'll do it if I can work with Kim, you know. And so I didn't just she backed me up on that song, but I also backed her up on 2 of her ballads. And then I have 2 other songs that I did in the show. But why I chose Black Cat is because Janet is my wife and I wrote Black Cat. So plus she called me Black Cat as a nickname, like a little pillow talk name and stuff. That's just me. That's just between me and Jay though. That's between me and Jay and stuff. Y'all can't even. So don't come over here. Don't come over here right now. Feel me? But you see the band that I'm working with. So I needed to do something they can get into. You know, it's a rock song. I can enjoy it. They can get into it and give me what I need from them. Because I'm also a musician. So I'm listening for shit that I need, you know. So, and the fact that you saw a lot of the guys have that long fucking Bon Jovi hair. So I wanted to use that. That's why when I go guitar, and then the fat Pancho Latino guy comes out and starts the first part of the solo, then the guy Bobby comes out and I go over and start doing all this and that. I want that hair banger moment, you know. And because white people love when you feel like they're making them special. Most of the people up there were not white, but the headbanger guitarist, he was white. The guy standing right the fuck behind me looking like the fucking Lurch from, goddammit, whatever Lurch is from, was a white devil. and I got on him the opening night because when I take when I'm doing my freeze, like, and getting all my flowers from the audience, I'm the principal on the stage. You don't move until I move. So all that rushing off the stage shit, no, bitch. We walk when I leave. That's what is proper etiquette. You understand? So, plus they didn't understand, even the director at rehearsals, he was like, yeah, are you going to do anything? I'm like, I'm still working it out. I already had it. I'm still working it out. I'm working. I just didn't want to give them full out anything, like, no, I don't have it yet. So just set out. And, but I was a central part of that show, and people came back that probably wouldn't have come back, to see the show a second or third time because of me, you give me an ensemble, I'm probably going to be the most exciting thing on that bill. Not tooting my horn, I'm just saying, I came to work hard. Y'all didn't. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, that's the backstory on that. That's how I came to be a part of that that show, and why I did that song. J9, I see you. Wheels down, seats in the upright position. So, as I said, you guys, I will, Ray, I will follow up on that, the dude you shared with me. I'll follow up on that. Also, I'm intending to hopefully get through the last part of last night's stream. Like I said, I think I've only got maybe 10 minutes left, 10, 15. And then I do have to watch the Farrakhan piece, because obviously I'm not going to sit here and we're going to watch 3 hours, the entire 3 hours, but I would like to be able to pick out the key time stamps to give you a summation of the Savior's Day speech, and also give you, for those of you who are not familiar with what it even means, give you a little bit of an education of what Savior's Day is, why it is, when it began, all this and the third, so you have context. So I'll give you a full education around that, and then crescendo that with critical pieces that I identify from watching the full 3 hours plus video. You can also go and watch it too if you want to already be up to speed, but I think that's what we will delve into tomorrow. We may get into some Hamas or some Hamas / something from Gaza, just because it is the most important and pressing event happening in our existence right now. Certainly one of them. Just the whole world this isn't even done in secret. They killed over 2 million Iraqis when Bush went into Iraq, which had nothing to do with anything ever with anything. But you had to hear about that. We didn't see it every day, you see. And so this is different in that regard, because we're seeing it playing out moment by moment, day by day, and I'm sick and tired of it, And also, this is going to be our crescendo tomorrow, because remember, Ramadan is going to start probably about the 10th of this month, everybody. And I intend to immerse myself in all things Africa over on Jedi Africa during the Holy Month. I will mix my content with obviously is my Islamic stuff, but also something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've been wanting to bring you other stuff from Africa and about Africa, like that you will definitely be entertained and enriched by and educated and all that stuff. And you know, plus I need to continue to grow that channel and to keep it alive, you know. And when you leave a channel dormant, then it doesn't get any push from the system, and so you have to try and keep some blood flowing through it, so to speak. So I need to get back over to Jedi Africa. And but tomorrow we'll be here again on this channel, and as I say, that's a brief outline of what I intend to try to tackle for us tomorrow. And then if there is other stuff, and as always I remind you guys, anything that you want to bring up, you can always bring that up. That's fine, you know. I ultimately I would love to get to a place from my side of it, because I'm bringing my stuff. This is my stuff I'm bringing. But you can bring your stuff and be like, Jedi, can you talk about this? What about this? Have you heard about this? Because a lot of times I learn stuff from you guys, stuff I don't even know about. You know, somebody will mention, I go, oh, I didn't know about that. You know, so always you can bring your stuff. Also random, you guys, I used to watch The Masked Singer when I had television. I haven't had television in years. And so stuff has to come under my radar. I have to know about something, or I found out about stuff some kind of other way. Somehow I ran into The Masked Singer. You gotta go see Neo. I thought this was some sissy dude, because that's what he gave. Neo is a revelation, and I do a very good job on his song So Sick. I match his vocal and everything. Wow. That's one of my, I'm really good at that song. And so I'm familiar with his voice, but I didn't catch that was him, you know. And the video you're going to want to go and see, because you'll see all of his performances, is it's the cow something. Let me see what it is so I can tell you it. But this first song is from some group called Imagine Dragons. Never heard of them, never saw them. They don't owe me money, and I'm over it. But this song got me. So you know, they were like, because I was just, I was watching some entertainment stuff. I just wanted music and, you know, something good. And he did not disappoint, man. When that downbeat hit and he started, it starts with like an acapella. Gimme something, so it got me, you know. Then he started walking. I'm like, come some faggot, man. Here we go. So I was thinking, well, maybe it's that Big Frida person, because that's the only person I thought. Because I knew it was a black person. And even when he starts singing, Nicole goes, wait, is that a guy's voice? And then Jenny goes, it's a guy, it's a guy, it's a dude. And I thought, I can't think of nobody else. And they were like, Billy Porter, fuck you, bitch. No. But I could only, just this Big Frida person just kept coming to mind. From New Orleans, it's real big with, I forget what the style of music they call it. Anyway, and he was switching, real feminine. All his movements were very feminine, and you know, but he was killing it. And then they revealed him, and I went, Neo is really something, man. I should have got it, because I watch movement, and there's this that Neo does that's very anybody can do this step, but when Neo does it, it's Neo. I know that's him, and I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it. Didn't catch it because he has this interesting way that he does just that little one step, you know. Stupid. This is what you want to see. Let me put this up so you can go and search it and get your entire existence from Neo as well. Oh, that's not it. I thought it said cow. That was from the Crown Act thing that we covered. All right, strike that. All right. It's the cow. Damn it. My patience is waning. Is this entertaining? It's coming to me. Give me some time to think. Something. My patience is waning. Is this entertaining? And then that beat, bam! You like, what is happening right here in front of me? Okay, Masked Singer. What the fuck? Where is it? It's not that far back. That's Monique. That's not it. Oh, there it is. All right. Bring you. This is what you want to type in, everybody. The Masked Singer 2023. Cow. All performances and reveal. And you can see everything that Neo did. And just, you can't believe it. And his range is greater than I know Neo has a really good range, but he's hitting some notes that I was like, wow, dude, you know. And then I appreciate how he explained when he was on, you know, when they did the reveal, because right before he said it, I thought, wait, when they brought, I was like, it is Neo, because they start guessing Neo. They always guess everybody but the fucking person, but as soon as like, when Nick goes, you gotta have any final, they all fucking know who it is. Like, they know in advance. Kiss my ass. I'm over it. I still love the show. But, and of course he won it, because it's been mostly won by black people. So, because when you can't see us, you can't hate on us and not fucking give us our shit. But, I just immediately thought, oh, you're a father. This is not a good look. You know, but the way he explained it, I was okay with it, you know. You know, because he said, I can't disguise my singing voice. People know it. And, which is interesting to me, because I can match a lot of people's vocals and sound just like them. So people would know it was me singing. You can't do somebody else's voice singing? I don't know how that, I don't know what I don't know on that. But anyway, he was like, so he had to come with something. So he did this cow that's, you know, clearly a girl cow. I think that would have been enough. You didn't have to do the mannerism stuff. Your kids could be scarred for life, Neo. Just saying. Anyways, that's what you want to watch, everybody. That'll be a great crescendo to your evening, and you will be highly entertained. He's so good. I didn't even watch the rest of who was on that season. He won. This is all his performances. That's all I need to know. That means everybody else failed. Because to me, it's about the song, you know. Like when I still had television, one of the reasons why I was kind of waning of Masked Singer is because they started bringing on more failed celebrities, and then they start bringing on social media influencers and shit that nobody would fucking know. You know, like I don't know that person. You know, like no. But even with that, I don't want to hear songs that I don't want to hear. And I'll leave you with this. If you yourself are any type of a performer, entertainer, or anything, or you have children, or cousins, or nieces and nephews, brothers, sisters, whatever, somebody that does entertainment and they're in any type of contests or performances, it's all about the song, everybody. I've won almost every single contest I've been in doing anything because I understand that singular principle. The song. The song. The song. The song. And not some shit that you like. And if you don't like a song, don't do it. So find something that you like that you can do, but you may run up against a place where you shouldn't do this. Because the song must serve the people. That's first. And if you can back that up with a killer performance, you will win. That's 100%. Because guaranteed, there's always going to be people that you're competing against that are doing some song that they just like, or a few people, or it's some latest song that's supposed to be popular, but everybody's not into it. So today's contemporaries would do, they're gonna get them to do maybe Drake or somebody. I don't know the fuck a song by Drake. So I hate it already. I hate it, and I'm not even watching the rest of the performance. Where's the exit? I'm busy. I can't. You gotta get the audience with the song. Candy Burris. First of all, she needs to walk away from all that housewives bullshit. This female is impressive to me on every single level. She checks all the boxes. And the only one that doesn't fit is this housewife shit. Why are you there? You're so much greater than that. You are. Why are you there? For what? Her first song, she was the Night Angel. Whatever season she was on, she won the show. She was the Night Angel. She opened up with You Give Love a Bad Name. Oh, that song transcends generations. It's just a timeless song. You don't have to be anything but have 2 ears, and you're going to like that song on some level. You can't not. Then you're a female singing it, and a black female at that. So we're to hear that. So when she opens up, it's a cappella. Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. Then she goes, you give love. The way she phrased it, because it's, you give love. But she went, you give love a bad name. The pyro, the shit. People that even probably never even heard that song went up and and loved it first hear through. It's a time that song is gonna get you there. But I'm saying most of the songs she picked the rest of the contest were absolutely garbage. It's like, I can't. But that performance carried her through because people still had that. Maybe she's gonna give us that again. Oh, she didn't give it. We'll stick with it another week. And they stuck with her. And she did some songs that other people enjoyed, but they were still just didn't have it. But that song, I probably watched that performance easily 50 times. Easy. And that's conservative. It's that good. It's that good. She murdered it. It's the best cover of that song I ever heard or saw or anything. She killed. She killed, dude. She killed. It's all about the song, everybody. Damn. If people could just get to that. I'm going to start, certainly once I get back home to Africa, I want to immerse myself at some point in the entertainment scene there, because that's a bug that's in me like a virus. It's not going away till I leave this earth. I am a music entertainment person, and that's just not going away. So I would love to be a consultant, entertainment consultant, as well as go back to, doing choreography and stuff like that. That will be a new chapter for me in dance, because how do now I fuse my style and my dance vocabulary with African dance. Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. So, to my moderators, I want to say thank you to you all again first. To my constant gardeners, a big shout out to you all. I never know how to open or close a video, y'all. It's the worst thing for me. So, I love you all. And inshallah, we'll be together tomorrow. And I give thanks and praise to Allah that we had this time this evening. I bid you all a good evening. This is the Jedi.